Exciting day.
And those lines are now, once again, open.
Oh, now's your last chance.
Exciting.
10 grand.
Lee, have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks for your help this morning with the cameras and stuff.
All right, take care of yourself.
Good man.
Thank you. All right, it is the 9 till noon show. Our Friday panel has assembled. They'll be joining us very shortly, but at 9 o'clock, it is time to say good morning for a news update to Emma Ryan. Good morning, Emma.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Detectives are appealing for information following a report of shots fired at a residential premises in the Joyce Court area of Derry last night. Shortly after 10:40pm, police received a report that 4 masked men had attended a residential address and fired shots at the front door. Tom Douglas reports.
Officers attended the property last night and spoke to occupants who reported that 4 masked men had arrived and fired shots at the front door. 2 adults and a young child were present at the time of the incident, but there were no reports of any injuries. Detective Sergeant Ballantyne said inquiries into this incident are ongoing. He appealed to anyone who was in the area at the time and saw any suspicious activity, or who may have CCTV footage captured or any other information which could assist, to contact police on 101.
Education Minister Norma Foley is congratulating over 61,000 students getting their Leaving Cert results today. In Donegal, there were 2,151 people registered to sit the Leaving Cert exams in June, while a further 99 people were registered to sit the Leaving Cert applied. The results will be issued online through the candidate self-service portal from 10 o'clock this morning. Students will also be able to receive their results in person through the schools. The first round of CAO offers are expected to be made to students next Thursday. Minister Foley says it's a major milestone for Leaving Cert students.
It's a great achievement for them, and I'd like to congratulate them and acknowledge really that the past few years have not been easy for them, but this wonderful cohort of students have met every challenge along the way. So today is such a significant and happy day for them, and I'd like to thank them and to thank their parents and families, and indeed the school staff who supported them every step of the way.
A joint funeral for 2 teenagers who died after getting into difficulty at Aina Law in Derry on Monday evening is taking place today. Raven Simon and Joseph Sebastian, both aged 16, were classmates at St Columb's College. One of the boys was taken from the water and transferred to Altnagalvin Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. The other boy was pronounced dead at the scene after being recovered from the water. The funeral is being held at St Mary's Church, Ardmore Road at 11 o'clock this morning. And finally, €450 a year extra is what it's going to cost you if you're an Electric Ireland customer. The energy company introduced its third price hike for electricity supplies yesterday. Gas customers will have to fork out more as their annual bill will rise by €500. Dara Cassidy from bonkers.ie has a tip on how to reduce your electricity bill.
I mean, one of the big things is just to never put hot food into the fridge or the freezer straight away. So if you're doing some batch cooking or if you're cooking for the next day, let the food cool down for about an hour or so.
To weather now, rather cloudy today with some hazy sunny spells. There will be a few showers around during the morning, albeit with lots of dry weather overall. Highest temperatures of 17 to 21 degrees. That's all for now. We'll be back with an update again at 10 o'clock. But until then, good morning.
Can I get 2 specials, please? 1 sourdough and Caesar salad. And by the way, I'm 12 weeks pregnant.
Yes, Chef.
We don't always know who's at risk from COVID-19 and other viruses, but we do know how to protect them. Keep hands clean and wear a mask. Let fresh air in, get vaccinated, and stay at home if you are unwell. From the HSC. For us all.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning. You're very welcome along to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. We are broadcasting live across the Northwest on air and across the world online, and streaming the programme online as well on our Facebook pages and our YouTube channel for you to enjoy. Get in touch with us right now with our Friday panel, but we want your views as well, of course. 08660 25000, WhatsApps and texts that number, or give us a call on 07491 25000, or if you want to email, it's comments at highlandradio.com. All right, lots to talk about this morning, so let's introduce our guests. So we'll say good morning first to John McAteer, editor of the Tyrconnell Tribune newspaper. Good morning, John. Great to see you again.
Thanks, Greg. Nice to be here.
No, thanks for sparing the time this morning. I can say the same to Emer McGuinness, manager of the Donegal Market. Morning to you, Emer.
Good morning, Greg.
And last but certainly not least, Barbara Ukahal, Irish Language Planning Coordinator for Letterkenny. Good morning to you, Barbara. You're just muted there, Barbara, so if you could just undo that, that's fantastic.
Imagine why did Greg.
It's great to have you on the programme, Majin Y. Nervous time in about 55 minutes for leaving cert students and their parents and guardians. Barbara, would you like to be in that boat again?
No, I had four
neither.
go through that. And I have to say, my heart really goes out to those kids this morning. And particularly, they're not going to get their offers till Thursday of next week. They've got very little time to get sorted. Accommodation is an absolute disaster. I really feel for the kids and for their parents who are trying to get this sorted out under a lot of time pressure.
They've been through the mill, haven't they, this group of people? Because, of course, they lost, quite a lot of regular teenage life through COVID, and then they're straight into sort of this chaos of accommodation and, inflated grades. Well, they're adjusted, but you know what I mean, and the struggle for places and the shortened time zone. They've done nothing. We've put all this on them.
Yeah, I think they've had a very tough time. I really do think that, we've seen over the past couple of years that kids have been under pressure. And although this gang have been at school for the past year, they've had a lot of catching up to do. And even socially and everything, social skills, interaction, everything, it has been tough. So I hope they take the time today, look at what they've got, look at what they actually want to do. And think more widely. It does not have to be university. There are loads and loads of opportunities out there. And they really need to take their time and think about what they want to do and where they want to put their energy.
Emer, do you envy them?
I don't. My niece is getting her results this morning and they had their debs last night. So, we're waiting hard to hear the results. But like that, there is so many factors into everything now. Even if they don't get their first choice, which a lot of them don't. And we've seen that especially since COVID, the places are so limited. So there's always another way in. My son done it here, and it's you just get there. It just takes maybe an extra year or so, and maybe they need that year. So.
Yeah, and as it's as you get older, you can put things into context and the significance of something and what something actually means in the wider scale of things in your life. And that comes with age, and it comes quite quickly in your 20s. But for the 16, 17, 18-year-old, this is the culmination of everything. But they will come to realise that perhaps maybe it's just not quite as important as it feels at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's life. We don't always get exactly what we want when we want it. We have to just keep trying. So, there's a lot of learning things with it, but they will get there.
John McAteer.
We have 61,000 people doing the exams this morning. And I think
I hope they've got them done.
I think everybody's going to get reasonably good results because there's that element of failure has been removed from exams. Exams should appreciate the 61,000 for what they are, not for their achievements on the education field. Some will have very high marks. There's going to be a huge number of people over 500 this year, but effectively there will not be real failures as we used to see it as, and it was kind of stigmatized young people. Young people just need to be appreciated for what they've achieved so far and to encourage them to go further. And as the both speakers before me said, there are loads and loads of opportunities away from the field of academia, skills, big shortage and all of those things. And there's going to be something for everybody, regardless of what results to get.
Yeah, and in fairness to the current higher education minister, when you look at the CEO website and you see the placement of other types of courses and internships and all, I think finally, and credit where it is due, he and his office have caught up with the fact that we need to also give a space for these options so people know they're there and not see it as some sort of a failure, which I think is very welcome. Front page, yes, go ahead, John.
There was never a better time for opportunities in this country. We're at highest levels of employment ever, and we have very, very low levels of people coming through from qualifying with the skills, and that needs to be, as Barbara said, the emphasis needs to be to a great extent on skills and away from academia, although like that is still very, very important for the highest achievers.
All right. So many of listeners to the programme would have learned yesterday that the price of their electricity is going up again. Electric Ireland has over 1 million customers, and gas as well. We have Taoiseach Micheál Martin on the front of the paper telling us to cut back on our energy use. And I heard a clip in the news there of some fella saying, we're going to get through this by not putting hot food in the fridge. I've never done that ever. But anyway, if that's where we're at, we're in bother. And then, of course, you know, we are facing into this cost of living crisis, people already living in it, John. And then the slap in the face, and this is what it feels like, a slap in the face with the news that TDs and senators are getting another pay rise, 6.5k to TDs, some of that backdated to February. You know, there's always been a group of people that have talked about them and us, but now everyone is sort of feeling that. I think more, John, I'll stay with you on this one, that those that legislate for us are really living in a bubble completely different to our lives, our existences.
Well, they're going to be on up to 108,000. They're going to get a big lump sum of 6,500 off the back of the proposed wage agreement. I don't think that can be justified. They need to look at that. I think pensioners, TDs, their pensions and their perks needs to be looked at very, very seriously, because we're right back to where we were before the Celtic Tiger, when things were running away with themselves altogether. Given that the minimum wage in this country today is €10.50 an hour, when you have TDs who have effectively they can work 20 years, they reach the max of their pensions 20 years, and that is measured in that half of that is effectively their pension, but that is multiplied by 3 to give them a lump sum, which is 150,000. I don't know what other country is delivering those kind of incomes to TDs. I mean, after all, here we have a group of people who are effectively temporary workers. They're only there from one election to the next. Is there any other group of temporary workers anywhere in the world on 100 grand a year? It's also their salaried income, the perks that they get for travel, for phones, for secretarial services, for all of those things. I just read somewhere just last week that the TDs pensions are probably the highest in Europe. But the Taoiseach's pension, if it's to be taken out privately by you or me, would cost €2 million.
That's what you'd have to input into it.
That's what you'd have to input into it. And it's a way, way beyond the bounds of reality at this point. And, you know, the other scary thing about that is that we're going to have 10 or 12 more of them come the next election. And there's going to be a mad rush to become a TD. That's one thing that so many people aspire to, because the money is big.
Yeah, but I'll come back to you on that one, John. But Barbara, with everything that is going on, like, is it a distraction? Should we not even be talking about these pay increases, or is it very relevant to where we're at now and how we found ourselves in the situation we are in through decisions that have been made? You know, we are seeing in other countries, in Spain, in France and elsewhere, for example, where, you know, proper interventions have taken place to try and limit as much as is possible the impact on regular people. But we heard yesterday, small businesses. I mean, we are going to hemorrhage small businesses, and we can enjoy full employment at the moment, but I wonder how long that will be the case. But when we start talking about TDs and senators' salaries, is it an unnecessary distraction or something worthy of conversation, Barbara?
I think it's absolutely worthy of conversation, because I think it highlights the fact that there is far too much disparity in this country between people who are living extremely comfortable lives and people who are struggling to put food on the table. And I think we have to have that conversation. And often the line gets trotted out about, well, you know, it's just part of the system and these rises happen and we can't really do anything about it. And I think we need to call, stop to that, because it increases that sense, as John mentioned, you know, that these people are just living utterly disconnected from the reality of life for the majority of people. And I think it is a slap in the face. And if you look at businesses, you know, how are businesses going to get through this winter? If you look at things like cafes, some of them have been talking about the bills that they have been getting for electricity. How are they meant to continue? So, yeah, I think we need to have a very hard look at what can be done. I think we need to look at the power companies, like the electricity companies. What are the profits that they're making? Because there seem to have been some exorbitant profits made on the back of the rest of us having higher bills. So that needs to be looked at. We need to look at any sort of evidence where bills and prices of fuel and, you know, your petrol, your diesel are over and above what they actually really need to be. And then we need to look at those pay increases for people who are already living comfortable lives and will get through this without any stress at all.
It seems as part of the budget, and I think the rural group of independents, or whatever their name is, are pushing for this. Part of this, the government's plan, is to effectively give more money to the energy companies to suppress the bills by giving them more money. Do you think that's a good strategy? We saw it previously, you know, where everyone was allegedly going to get €200, but that was paying money directly to these people making record profits. Do you think that's an appropriate way to ease the burden on the public, or something a little bit more, you know, maybe cost effective and sort of benefiting the taxpayer rather than the energy providers should be employed?
Well, I mean, what scares me about that one is that they're not gathering this money off trees and handing it to the energy suppliers. It's taxpayers' money. So we may not be paying it in our bill directly as an electricity bill, but we'll still be paying it. Because if they get that money, it has to come out of our pocket somewhere. So I don't think that's effective. I think we really need to do some in-depth analysis as to what the costs are for producing electricity and what the profits are that are being made. Yes, these companies need to make a level of profit in order to survive, but I think we really need to look at where those profits are going. So that would be my first angle. I don't think handing money to the energy companies as a way of buffering the rest of us is anything other than a distraction.
The finance minister enjoyed another soft interview this morning. I think it's ever since he polled a journalist up on the referencing Fine Gael's policy on shoes, but it's literally a party political broadcast every time he's on. And he talked really, what he was referencing is that Europe's going to sort this out. You know, the energy ministers are going to meet and all that type of stuff, really effectively shirking the responsibility of actually coming up with a proper solution to this EMER. You know, that's when the public hear that, when we hear that, we are the public, it doesn't fill me with confidence. And you know as well, EMER, the pressures on, you know, keeping the lights on in a business and seeing your electricity prices double, and where are we going to end up?
Well, just on the whole thing, you know, when we're chatting about just some ministers' pay, my view on that would be they are public servants. Maybe that's something that in the future has to be looked at in separation, because as they are only temporary, as you say, they're not full-time public servants as such. Also, we looked at the thing last week of them having other roles as being property developers. So that, I really believe, when they do become ministers, they should have to give up all these other roles, and for the time being that they are in office, and they should spend their whole time looking after us. Now, Minister McGrath and Pascal Donohoe seemingly are going to put measures in place in the autumn. I'd like to think that they are working on this, and that there is a committee or somebody in place looking at what's going to happen and what people are going to have to face. But the reality is, when you don't live a particular life every day and you don't have to meet struggles that other people have to meet, it's very hard to understand them. And I suppose when they're on these huge salaries for years, they don't understand what it's like to get up in the morning. It's very hard to, what normal people have to do. Like, you know, I think of a family maybe of 6 children, you know, maybe the father's working, the mother's not, going out trying to get kids to school for bus fares. There's so many simple things, and yet every day I see money being spent so foolishly in areas that, and maybe not foolish is the wrong word, but I see money being spent on things that probably could wait. Like Eamon Ryan got up and announced the other day, and I suppose that's what makes people's blood boil. We're heading into this massive crisis, but yet he was one of the people that was very helpful in creating this crisis as such. You know, they implement things and they don't see afterwards what the effects it's going to have on the normal everyday people. And that's across in my sector, in the farming sector, in every.
Is that just not the reality, though, of, like, I just think there's probably a radio show in every country in the world at the moment, and they're having the same conversations. Like, I mean, is there any country whereby there is a government elected, the people feel connected to them, they're working for the people, they're making the right decisions, and everybody's happy?
Well, I suppose this is the people's fault at the end of the day. Who do we elect? You have to be able to connect with the people that you elect and you put into office. And they have to have an understanding of people's lives and everyday lives. Like, when I was listening last week they were on the radio program they were chatting about property and having property. And with this salary, and it's now gone up to 108,000. Now, don't get me wrong. They work very, very hard. TDs work very hard. They probably don't have a life of their own. As such when they are in office. And I'm not knocking whatever salary they get, but I do think they should concentrate wholly on that role when they're in it. They shouldn't have any distractions of other jobs or anything.
You see, the thing is too, I mean, if you take all of the wages of TDs and senators, right, and put it into a big pot, and then you couldn't fix any problem in this country with that amount of money. It's not significant. It's insignificant, really, in the wider scale of budgeting. But it's the message, I think, it's the standing shoulder to shoulder. It's that we are all in this together. It is that, at this time, not only would it be inappropriate for us to accept this pay rise, which is coupled with this pay deal, but we actually think that maybe we should take a reduction until such time we're through this. Do you know what I mean? So it's not the amount of money.
Take it yet. We don't know if they'll take it.
Of course they'll take it.
What sickens me about that there, Greg, is that the Fiscal Council the other day there made very strong recommendations to cut all the perks to pensioners insofar as the issue of universal social charge and all this kind of thing is concerned. And on the same breath, then we see the TDs. They are going to argue that they are part of the upper echelons, that the salary is based on the upper echelons of the grade 8 or 19 or 22 in the public service. I don't see how TDs should be attached to any aspect of the public service pay system, because they're not part of that, because they're here today, gone tomorrow, and they'll take their money with them. There has to be a better way of, first of all, we have too many TDs. It's going to get much bigger. I mean, the reality is there that if the new commission, the Electoral Commission, decides to do it in a different way, you can have a TD for every 20,000 people in the country rather than every 30,000. You'll be left with 255 TDs in Dáil. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Well,
could we afford that?
Let me play devil's advocate here for a moment, John. Inflation is running at 9%, and TDs will only get a pay increase of 6.5%. I mean, is that fair?
I mean, everything's relative. Jiminy Jesus, I don't know. The reality here is that we just can't afford TDs at that kind of money. And like as Emer was alluding to there, the Robert Troy affair and the 11 properties told us and spoke to us in a very different way, that there are 77 or 80 TDs. Politicians have other interests. As a group, they're the largest group in the rental sector. I don't think they should be in there at all. I think the day that they become a TD, they should relinquish. Emer said the minister should relinquish it. I think TDs, they can't serve the people if they have interests that they're promoting themselves in the creation of new bills and new legislation. Yeah. But no, 6,500 is unrealistic. The more you have, the more you're going to get. There's a huge big imbalance in that. People at the very lower end will hardly notice the 6%. That'll have long since disappeared in inflation. Whereas if TDs never got that increase, they would never notice that it was missing. I mean, how could that be fair, Greg? Really?
And I trust that they have their. I trust that they have their clinics and they hear the representations from people and all that kind of stuff. But there has to be an element of when you're in a circle and when you're completely insulated from this stuff. I mean, I'm thinking back to one politician. We've been living the health crisis. I'll put this to you, Barbara. We've been living the health crisis now for years on programs like this. parent after parent, grandparent after grandparent, son and daughter after son and daughter talking about the awful situation in our hospitals. And there was one TD, a lady, probably very well intended, but it was she had an experience in the ED, and it was almost like a revelation. This is unbelievable. I can't believe what's going on here. We need to do something about it. And that kind of pointed to me that you do get insulated. I think you do end up, as much as you say, I can feel what you're feeling. I think when you have so much money and you run with the same type of people in the same boat, you know, it should not be a shock that the hospitals, that there's no seats for people in hospital, there's big long waits. And that talked to me most about recently, and with other examples, Barbara, about there has to be a detachment. How can you not be detached from reality when you don't have to live in it?
Absolutely. I mean, and I think even during the COVID crisis, you know, there was this great phrase that we're all in this together and we're all in the same storm. And as with that, and with, you know, the current cost of living crisis and the health crisis, yes, there is a storm, but some people are in nice fancy yachts and some people are hanging on to a piece of driftwood. And that's the reality. So the fact that we're in the same storm really doesn't apply. And I think, yes, there is that danger. Now, having said that, would you want to be a TD? Would I want to be a TD? No, I don't care what the money is. And we do need to be able to have people of quality.
Well, I always said never, but after that last electricity price increase, and that, you know, you're almost, would you sell your soul? I don't know. No, I wouldn't. But
I think we have to be careful there that there's something needs to change in the system. Because
yes, but listen, how many TDs are there, John? 168 or something? I don't have any press releases.
There's 160 at the moment.
Right, I don't have any press releases from any individuals or political parties screaming for change at the moment. And I suppose one would argue, why would they? Okay,
one or two on the left are doing that there. Paul Murphy and one or two others.
Okay,
I'd like to see them stand up. I'd like to see them say, "This is wrong."
But you'll have a long wait for that to happen.
You see,
a long wait.
What people are annoyed of, again, I'm sorry to labour this point, Emer, but what people are annoyed of, and people are texting in here, is the bosses of the electricity companies, right, are getting bonuses and they're getting rewarded, right, for what they are doing, okay, and for the money that they're bringing in for the company. And we're asking maybe the likes of our elected representatives to do something about that. It's unbelievable that in a recession you've got people who are making record profits and earning extra even more money. But the people we're asking to hold the heads of these companies to account are in the exact same boat. They're in the midst of getting a big bumper pay rise whilst everyone else is struggling. So are they even in a position to call out profiteering electricity companies, because they themselves are making even more money as we head into a recession and as half the country's in fuel poverty?
And this is the problem, and this is why I suppose you get to the root of it, why we're so angry. They're the only people that can do it, because they make the legislation. They can make it, they can break it, they can change it. They're the only ones. We elected them to do that. So if they don't do it, there's nothing. Like we've seen all through COVID, that COVID was, which we all know what it was for everybody. It was torture and heartbreaking for a lot of families, but an awful lot of people actually made money of it. There's always somebody to make money out of a crisis. So yes, I do believe that there should be more politicians crying out at the minute for this to change, and they have to put the legislation in place to change this. And there's absolutely, that's the way it is in Ireland. There's nothing else we can do bar that, for them to change these companies. So until they do that, and maybe that's what we need to be, and maybe this protest will be a good thing.
Right, I'm going to talk about that actually. We'll talk about that, because I'm interested to hear your views on this protest taking place later this month. I can't believe it's September, but it is. And what kind of turnout it might be and what might it achieve. We'll hear more from Emer, Barbara and John, and you, of course, listening wherever you are after the break.
Declutter this summer with Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms. Inflation-beating built-in wardrobe special offer. Get a 2-metre long wardrobe with 2 free mirrors built in for €1,099. Check us out online or book an appointment viewing in our Donegal Town showroom today on 07497 25822. Cherrymore. More bedrooms your way since 1996.
There was a monster who lived in the trees, in the house that would rattle and shake in the breeze. It was cold and small, with a terrible leak that would drip on her head and her hands and her beak. She needed it fixed and all in one batch, because she had an egg that was ready to hatch. So she went to the credit union for a renovation loan and got new windows, insulation, and extended her home. Monster loans from the credit union. Imagine more. Loans are subject to approval. Terms and conditions apply. If you do not meet the repayments on your loan, your account will go into arrears. This may affect your credit rating, which may limit your ability to access credit in the future. Credit unions in the Republic of Ireland are regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
The renowned Gallon Hotel Group Ballybuffet, featuring the Villa Rose and Jackson's Hotels, are hosting their Autumn Wedding Showcase on Sunday, September the 11th from 1 till 4 p.m. Take the opportunity to view both venues fully dressed and meet with the wedding teams. Find out more on gallongroup.com.
Enjoy a great value breakfast any day until 2 at Kelly's Diner, Letterkenny. Every Saturday at Kelly's, it's Steak Madness with a succulent 8-ounce steak and all the trimmings for just €12. On Fridays, from 3, all deluxe burgers with chips and a soft drink are only $15.95. For endless choice and value, pull into Kelly's Diner at Mountain Top, Letterkenny.
For a Portaloo for any event, contact the exclusive stockists in Donegal. Gortley Sales and Hire. Long-term and short-term quotes available for parties, festivals, weddings or any event across the county. Contact Gortley Sales and Hire in Letterkenny on 9126 276.
Ready, Steady, Grow Childcare Centre Ballybuffet require a full-time childcare assistant with a level 5 or 6 qualification, a part-time childcare assistant and 2 child assistants to cover maternity leave, and a cook with experience of home cooking. For further information, contact Paula on 074 9190 151 or send your CV to info@rsgchildcare.com.
Are you one of Donegal's next female entrepreneurs? Ambition is a pre-accelerator programme run by Local Enterprise Office Donegal. Ambition focuses on early-stage female entrepreneurs, promoting the skills and resilience needed to develop globally scalable ventures, attract investment and create jobs. Ambition is open to female founders, entrepreneurs or those with a strong startup idea with potential to be globally scalable who have links to Donegal. Apply before the September the 7th deadline at localenterprise.ie/Donegal.
Gear up for the club championship at Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure, where you'll find all the essentials to carry you through the season. Shop the full range of O'Neill's Morn shorts, socks and Sassoon mouthguards, and get the new Michael Murphy Ghost gloves with enhanced grip from just €15. Shop in-store or get free next day nationwide delivery when you spend €85 online at michaelmurphysports.ie.
Charity Drive Sunday 4th of September starts at Quigley's Point Community Centre at 12 o'clock. Drive open to tractors, cars, trucks and all vintage vehicles. Auction at 7 o'clock in Carberry House Bar with lots of good items for sale. All proceeds to the Donegal Hospice and Friends of Letterkenny Hospital. This ad is kindly sponsored by McKenna's Service Station, Drung, Quigley's Point.
Okay, we're in the company of John McAteer, Barbara O'Cahill and Emer McGuinness. Morning, Greg. The TDs we have at the minute don't help the people. Just look at the Micah situation. We definitely don't need any more. Scrap Dáil elections, have council elections instead. Top 5 elected, reaching 30k or so votes, get elected to Dáil. The rest stay in the council. Save millions plus make Dáil more democratic in one swipe. Make expenses real rather than the overinflated ones they get presently. Okay. Greg, reassuring to know while most of us lesser mortals will be tightening our buckles this Christmas, the restaurants at the hotels in Dublin will be fully booked during Christmas at the Dáil's dinner table. And another, just for balance, every public servant is entitled to a pay rise, not just TDs. Highlighting them specifically is unfair. The inflation rate is over 9% at the moment. Public servants are getting 6.5%, and that's over 2 years. It doesn't even meet the cost of inflation. Let's not forget every citizen of this country is entitled to be a public representative, but very few choose to do it. And I'm delighted that public servants are getting a 6.5% increase. But we also have to be conscious that the majority of people in Donegal, many of them currently on minimum wage, with no prospect of any increase in their wages at all. So although 6.5% might not go as far as public servants want, it's an awful lot more than many people who will effectively be taking a pay cut because of inflation will get. Right, so there is this protest taking place in Dublin on the 24th of September. It's a protest for all, apparently. I'm not sure who specifically is organising it. It comes ahead of the budget. Barbara, I was in conversation yesterday with Paddy Differ. I get the sense the only way a protest like this would make any difference, you'd have to be in the hundreds of thousands of people to take to the streets. I think the government would be delighted if just like, say, 30 or 40 or 50,000 people turned out. Do you think there will be a big turnout, Barbara? And do you think really it can make any difference?
I'd love to think that it could make a difference. I think there's a few issues here. One is people putting the diesel money into their car to drive there, and the cost of that, just the cost of getting to Dublin, is something that is going to put a lot of people off because they just don't have the spare cash. But as you say, Greg, unless there are overwhelming crowds in Dublin, unless Dublin is brought utterly and completely to a halt with the number of people, then it's nothing. I think we are really suffering from the fact at the moment that we feel our TDs are not listening to us. And it's hard to see how they're going to listen to this. I'd love to think that it would shift the perspective, but it's hard to see it, in all honesty.
Yeah, what do you think, Emer?
I think if it's done right, and as you say, if the crowds come out, it's like everything. We would have had many rallies to Dublin in relation to farming issues over the past few years, and the successful ones were always the ones that were well attended. You know, you really have to try and get your. Sometimes, yeah, it won't be spoken about unless it's hugely successful. And in that, I hope when they're going to Dublin that they have compiled a list or exactly what they want to see changed, and they will not accept nothing else unless it is changed. And unfortunately, that's the only way you'll ever succeed in changing that, and is almost bullying them.
Right, red lines. In other words, not saying everything is terrible. The way you handled COVID was terrible. We're against that. You're saying that there has to be sort of specific, almost red lines, a targeted set of demands.
Oh, almost definitely. Maybe 2 or 3 of the biggest issues for families, that's what it's going to be about, and they have to go realistic demands. Not pie in the sky ones. They really have to be thought out and look for that and run with that, because you know, if you don't, you can go up and you can stand with placards and we can give out and it'll be on the news tonight. But if you don't actually ask for it specifically to be changed or legislation to be changed, you just come home again and things go on the next day the same way as they always did.
And people will go down to that protest not knowing really what provisions there are in the budget. I find it, I just, it's the way it is, but I just find it remarkable that we have a group of people that we elected and someone say we didn't elect them, but you know what I mean, through the process, right? They have our money and they're going to divvy it out. And it's almost like a secret. We cannot tell you anything ahead of the budget. We can't tell you whether you'll be better off, how much buying social welfare, or we can't tell you how we might help you with your energy costs. Like it is a secret, like we're children and we all have to sit and wait until the big day for the announcement. It's like waiting on Santa. You know what I mean? That's how it feels.
They mightn't actually know yet. They're probably waiting on the public servants or civil servants to tell them.
They have to have a reasonable notion.
Yeah,
and then you have this ridiculous situation where interviewees or whoever does the interviews can't ask what's in the budget, but they have to ask, would you be minded to do this and minded to do that? I almost rip the radio out of the front of the car when I hear that nonsense. Bowing to their sets of rules again. John McAteer, how many do you think will turn out? How many do you think needs to turn out? Can it have any impact? I mean, protests have worked.
We saw what the Donegal Micro Group has done. You mentioned Paddy Dover. People have to get very energised, and I appreciate fully what Barbara said there about the cost of filling the car with petrol or diesel and going to Dublin for the day. Many people won't be fit to afford that, but they have to get there. The age of protest in the last 10 to 12 years has faded. The last big protests we had were about the water charges. Dublin needs to be packed with at least 250,000 people. And when you hear the prediction there this morning on Morning Ireland, that come January, families will be looking at energy costs of 6,000 a year. That's 6,000 that they simply can't afford. And they have to take every appropriate measure to try and bring that home to the government ahead of the budget. I just listened to Paschal O'Donoghue, you referenced him there. He was so pastoral this morning, I thought he was going to break into morning prayer before he finished. And he was not answering a single bloody question that he was asked. And he has this methodology of being suave and smooth and whilst ignoring the questions. Even was he interested in going to work in the European Bank and all that kind of thing. Paschal O'Donoghue has had a very easy run as Minister for Finance, because even during the COVID times, money was provided there. This country is rolling in money. We could have had our exchequer returns this year could be well in excess of 100 billion. That's huge money. Last year we budgeted for just what gross budget was about 88.5 billion. This year it will be substantially more than that, even though there was a deficit last year of 7.5% to budget as they did last year. There's only going to be a deficit of 1.5 billion. There's no reason they can't go and borrow.
But John,
their
if
way
that
out
if
of
that
it.
if that
They can
money
borrow their
is
way out of
if
it.
that money comes from corporation tax, that's where it's at. And this is a temporary tax, really. You're not supposed to do any long-term spending on corporation tax receipts because they could go in the morning. Is that part of the problem? Is why we allow data centres to drain 15% of our entire electricity supply in this country? Is that why we go to bat for Apple in Europe to try and help them not pay us 15 billion, which seemed like a lot of money at one point? Now
it's kind of pathetic what they're doing here. If we're going to take in foreign direct investment from America, which we're doing by the bucketful, we're going to have to provide the infrastructure, and that's the electricity for these data centers, because you can't have one without the other. They've known that for the last 10 years. But the reality here is that at the end of the day, once this budget comes and goes, like all budget days, people will be still, and their wages will be chasing inflation, and the budget will not have served any real purpose. That's why we need so many people to get energized, to get out there. Don't sit there thinking there's nothing I can do. Like, we have to depend on the government. It's almost as if you're waiting for a handout. It should not be like that.
Emer,
it must not be like that.
Are we expressing the views, do you think, of the majority of people out there today, in that, we've got people listening to us that are independent voters, they're Fianna Fáil voters, they're Fine Gael voters. Do you think Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil voters will take part in this protest? I don't have an allegiance to a party, so I don't understand how that works. Are people who support the government parties at the moment sort of screaming at the radio, thinking that we're being biased, that we're not being fair?
You can be a member of a parliament. It doesn't a party. It doesn't mean that you agree with every decision that they make. I was on a few weeks ago with the Minister for Agriculture,
yeah.
And I totally disagree with the decisions that were made there. And I still, so no, there'll be a lot of Fianna Fáil people and Fine Gael voters that, will be of the same mindset. They're just normal people. You can be a member of a party, but you can also be, as I said, you might be on minimum wage, you might be on slightly more, the middle of the road, as I do always say, the middle of the road income families, and they seem to get hit quite a bit too. So yes, a lot of them will go. That doesn't mean you couldn't. Nobody sitting at home this morning could sit there and say that that change doesn't have to come. It most definitely does. We're living in crazy times. I do understand for our environment and for our future, we have to make certain changes. But some people, and in some areas, we're being asked to make these changes, as in turf and fuel costs, everything. And yet in other areas, we don't seem to care what's happening in the environment. And I go back to my area, and I'll speak about farming just for a minute, if you don't mind. But, in our area, we're being asked to basically get rid of animals to meet numbers, and that's all they are. And we're not allowed to produce beef, or we've been told not to produce beef so we can import beef from another country. Like, you tell me that how could anybody not that's sitting in power think that that's okay?
Well, why? In recent polls show Fine Gael's approval rating amongst the farming communities through the roof. I think it was up around 60 or 70%. How's that then?
Is it really? We'll see come the next election.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. I get what you're saying. Emer, a caller says every county, there should be huge protests in every county and save the cost of travel to Dublin and get all the media on board reporting it. The truth is though, the way it works, you have to go to the seats of power, which is in Dublin. Yeah. It would have no impact at all. And I would say there would be more resources put into the old St. Patrick's Day parade where they had the odd camera in Sligo and Letterkenny and a couple down south. The only way to do it, if they are to do it, Barbara, is you have to go en masse to the capital.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that is the only thing that's going to work. I don't think local protests are going to work at all. It has to be an overwhelming amount of people in Dublin if this is going to have any impact. But, you know, just picking up on what Emer was saying there, and I agree so much with it, this thing about telling farmers not to produce milk, not to produce beef, and then almost as if on the sly, we bring it in the back door from somewhere else. But it's like, well, we're being seen to be doing what is right. We're reducing what we're producing here. We're reducing the number of animals to reduce, you know, gases and all the rest of it. There's no joined up thinking. There's no connection. Doing with one hand and ripping it apart in the other in terms of bringing it in from other countries and the impact of that. There's just no joined up thinking. And in terms of an energy crisis, there is no joined up thinking. Our politicians have to stop thinking about what is going to look like the right thing to do and what actually is the right thing to do. And there can be a big distinction between the pair of those.
John,
that's all anybody wants.
Yeah, John, this feels like a little bit of history because those repeating itself, those involved in the crash, the property crash, would have you believe the narrative is there, and I've heard it right, is that we borrowed too much money as consumers. It was somewhat our fault, and also decisions had to be made because of a global situation. So in other words, really, there's nothing Ireland in and of itself, those that run the country, could have done. Now we have a situation whereby we have Pascal Donoghue talking about what Europe might be able to do, but talking about the world having its impact. Not what the government can actually do, but what the world and Europe needs to do. And then we have Micheál Martin telling us to use less electricity as if it's our fault for boiling the kettle too often, okay? I'm not saying that's what he's saying, but that's how it might feel. We're back into this cycle again, aren't we, where it's the world's fault and it's our fault. You know what I mean? No word of the data centres need to pull back on their electricity usage. It's that we need to pull back on our electricity usage. One of the proposals is an extra tariff between, what is it, 5 and 7 we can't avoid that because we
get up in the middle of the night and do your washing and all that kind of thing.
Yes, but even if we do that, there's no way for us to avoid, unless you have a smart meter and your company is actually regulating your electricity in that way. Even if you do your washing at night, there's no way of avoiding the extra charge of power between 7 and 9 because our analogy type system couldn't determine that. So again, the point I was going to get to you, John, and sorry for the long-winded question, it's again sort of being structured like it's our fault, it's Europe's fault, it's Russia's fault, but the government can't do anything. They're just trying to deal with this impossible situation that's landed on their lap.
We used to hear that governments who were too long in power became institutionalised. I don't think I've ever seen a government. They were in power 2 years and they're totally institutionalised. It is just government by public relations. That's why at the start, and Leo Varadkar was the man that started this, they employ the best PR brains in the country to produce the spin that they expect us to buy.
I think a good idea. I think they need to look at their hires. I'll be honest with you. I mean, if this is what the best in the country get you, how Robert Troy and the government dealt with that situation. If that's what the top PR people get you, I think you really need to have a look at the situation.
That is part of the spin. No matter what bubbles up under.
Can I tell you what the problem is, John? And sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
A lot of journalists in Dublin and a lot of people working in for PR get sucked into the bubble we were talking about at the start of this programme.
I suppose they do, but like the government has the most professional PR system and one of the most expensive of any government ever. I mean, all the brains in Irish journalism are literally working for them. And I mean, the reality is that they come out with a press release, they have a sheet of paper there, they're reading off it no matter what question you ask. Pascal Donoghue is symptomatic of this. I mean, he's so pastoral all the time that he's talking to you. And every minister takes personal responsibility for everything. What exactly does that do? What does Stephen Donnelly was talking to the media yesterday? He took personal responsibility for not registering his property with the Tenancies Board. It does mean very, very little because we have a three-way government. I suppose most of them are playing into a particular agenda about reducing the carbon footprint and global warming and all that. But that is not working because the people out there who are going to be forced with €42 a minute at the moment, some people are being quoted for a bag of coal. Pensioners can't afford that. Yep. The government must see that, and if they don't, that's why we need all of those people marching in Dublin. The country is full of unions and strong union members, and this is where they should be. But unions have had it quite easy in recent years because there hasn't been any inflation. It's only in the past year that this nasty word of inflation that we lived with through the 80s, you know, when you were taking home less than 20% of what you were earning, because I was one of them when I worked with the HSE. In recent years, there's been a sort of a coming together of union heads, government, and the whole process of negotiating wage deals. Yeah. Bertie Ahern was the man that saw the way through negotiating that. Give them everything they want, then we'll take it off them the next week.
Okay, you mentioned Stephen Donnelly here. I just think this is important to mention, right? Because he describes himself as an accidental landlord. You know, he had also the memory lapse that his party colleague Robert Troy has. Now, the significance of this, and you've been talking about this already this hour, he called in the Dáil, as an accidental landlord, he called in the Dáil for different tax treatments for accidental landlords. It was under his proposals raised from 2014 to 2017. He believed that accidental landlords would be entitled to tax exemptions on their rental incomes. So that is a minister who is an accidental landlord who forgot to register his property, spending 3 years at different times lobbying for tax breaks for accidental landlords. Now, Barbara, you know, I don't think you have to be a cynic to see a problem there.
There's a massive, massive problem with it. I also think there needs to be some sort of medical study of memory deficiencies amongst TDs and ministers, because, I mean, it's getting ludicrous at this stage. But, you know, Emer mentioned it earlier on. There are serious conflicts of interest here. When you have somebody who is a landlord and they're also lobbying for better deals for landlords, there are serious issues there. When you look at the crisis for all these students who are going to be looking for accommodation now next week in Dublin and Galway and Cork and here in Letterkenny, we really need to clean this up. Okay. And I think we need to get the TDs out of that particular arena. All right. I don't think they can, you know, it's not on.
Right. Well,
see,
talking about
your problem there, you see, is that those, Barbara, and I agree with everything you say, they're the people who are making the rules and the laws. And how do you change them? I mean, it would take a real sea change to bring about any difference across our political system.
Do any of you believe that a Sinn Féin-led government, in coalescing with whomever it might be, could actually make any difference in 2 election cycles? Does anyone believe that or we just be directing our anger at a different group of well-paid people?
Yeah.
Are you all on mute, joke?
Yeah. No. I believe a strong Fine Gael party in government could make an immense difference.
Sinn Féin government, you mean a strong Sinn Féin one?
The Sinn Féin-led government.
So, really?
Yeah, I do believe that because they have the talent and have the initiative, and they've never been in government in the history of the state for over 100 years. It's almost incredible and unbelievable. I'm not saying that I want to see them in government. That's a matter for the public too. But I think they can bring a whole new dimension of thinking and experience into how politics is done, first of all, and to sort of promote the changes that they want to deliver.
But do you know, John, but say, for instance, in terms of the council, and I know it's a different structure, but you have the executive that make the decisions, and then councillors can sort of have their say and call for this, that, and the other, and get motions passed, and whether they're passed or not, you know, whatever happens. is it not somewhat similar? Will we not be hearing the same stuff, that the system is so broke it's going to take a couple of elections to change it so we can start seeing?
It may well do, but like I think it's worth trying
it's
that
worth
because,
a try. Okay.
I mean, like in my opinion, I felt that we voted for that change the last time, maybe not in strong enough words, because Sinn Féin was the majority party, and
Right.
and that was that, and the other two parties conspired to keep them out. So fair play to them for pulling that one over ice.
Barbara, you didn't jump in there.
I'm not convinced, because I think Sinn Féin have had a long time of being able to promise, chocolate hobnobs on trees, because they haven't been in a position of having to deliver it. So I'm not convinced. Even just the way that they vote in terms of some housing stuff and that, again, there's that disconnect. I don't think they're any magical solution. Now, it could be interesting to see possibly maybe a Fianna Fáil Sinn Féin coalition where you would have that, maybe you'd have a bit of a challenge there, and you'd have some ideas coming in from Sinn Féin, but without giving them full rein on it either. I think we need to be realistic. Nobody has a magic wand.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, grassroots Fianna Fáil people that I would talk to that would actually be okay with that type of a coalition and aren't sometimes too happy when it's ruled out. Emer, you're still a member of Fianna Fáil, are you? Not that it really matters, but to ask you then, do you think Sinn Féin can change things? I don't know, but what is your view?
I think a lot of the time politics is, I could be for saying this, but it's kind of like a game as such. Do you know, if you're sitting in the Dáil and you're a TV, you have to vote the party, whatever way your party's voting. I think that's what needs to change more so than the parties, because, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what party you are, your vote should count.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because on big issues, instead of getting 168 views that represent a broad demographic, we get 5 or 6 views.
Line.
Yeah, we get 5 or 6 points of view, really.
Yeah, well, that's all you get. And you see anybody that breaks that chain, you lose your whip or whatever else. You're not allowed to vote against the party. So I'd like to see that change more so than who goes into government. And then it shouldn't matter. You should have, if you have whatever amount of TD sitting on the door, their view when they vote on something should be their view. It should not be. And if you change that system, then it wouldn't matter what parties you really had in there. So, look at Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil, it really doesn't matter to me. I believe that that's where it needs to change more so than who's sitting in government.
I get you. Listen, always a pleasure, Emer. Thanks so much for accepting our invite and coming on the show again. I appreciate it greatly.
Thanks for having me.
Take care of yourself. Also, Barbara Ukal, thank you for your time this morning. It's been great having you on as part of the panel. Thank you.
Very good, Greg.
Okay, Slán Agus, John McAteer, thank you again. We had so much more to get through, but you saw yourself, John, how the conversation took hold there. But thanks for your time and your opinions and what have you, John.
Thank you as well, Greg.
All right, take care of yourself. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, that was our Friday panel, and you've been commenting as well. 086 60 25,000. Your WhatsApps and texts coming in on that number. We'll get to some of those. A caller says McGinley coaches go down every day. A lot of people will be going to the protest with them, indeed, but you would probably need 10, 15,000 from Donegal in every county, really, for it to start having an impact, I'd imagine. Maybe 7 or 8,000. If other parties were in government, there would be a shambles. Fix everything in their head. That's all. That's, I think, a really valid point of view, because you can promise the sun, the moon, and the stars, but can you deliver? Isn't Emer McGuinness a member of Fianna Fáil, therefore part of the problem, not the solution? Well, you heard Emer's own comments in relation to that. And last, before we take the break for the news, and then we'll catch up afterwards, things will not change until the people realise that only they have the power to change this. This is crazy. There's no shortage of electricity, just government policy closing down plants, cut it on family homes, and yet they give permission for new data centres using up our water and power. Get to the streets, people, says that listener. All right, we'll be back after the news at 10. We've another busy couple of hours on the way.
With everyone looking to shrink their bill these days, Dunnes Stores gives you new ways to save on your shop with Double Savers. First, you'll save in the aisles when you fill your trolley with fantastic low prices across thousands of great products. Then, you'll save again at the till with our 10/50 grocery voucher. Shrink your bill with Double Savers, new from Dunnes Stores. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next grocery shop of €50 or more.
Back to school at Brian McCormick's Sports and Leisure. Triple black footwear available in junior, women's and men's sizes from Vans and Adidas. Match it up with a backpack and tracksuit bottoms, ideal for back to school. From Nike, Adidas, Vans and Under Armour. Look the part, play the part. In-store, online, mobile. Click and collect on bmcsports.ie.
Sabrina Robb here from Donegal Hearing Clinic. If you're struggling to hear everyday conversations or find it difficult to understand people in a crowded room, you may have hearing loss. Problems like these are common and we're used to helping people resolve them. We offer hearing assessments and will discuss your options. You can call us on 074 91 88 470 or visit donegalhearingclinic.ie. Life sounds brilliant with Donegal Hearing Clinic, Letterkenny and Buncrana.
Your Longcomb free gift is waiting for you at McElhinney's. Simply buy 2 Longcomb products and receive the ultimate beauty routine. Your gift includes a full-size Vivasil cleanser, a 7-piece travel set, plus choose from our Absolute or Hydrozen skincare collection to complete your gift. Exclusively in-store and online at mcilhenneys.com until September 17th while stocks last.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the Highland Radio News Desk. Education Minister Norma Foley is congratulating over 61,000 students receiving their Leaving Cert results this morning. In Donegal, there were 2,151 people registered to sit the Leaving Cert exams in June. A further 99 were registered to sit the Leaving Cert applied. As of now, the results are available online through the candidate self-service portal. Students are also able to receive their results in person through their schools. First round CAO offers are being made on next Thursday. Minister Foley says it's a major milestone.
It's a great achievement for them and I'd like to congratulate them and acknowledge really that the past few years have not been easy for them, but this wonderful cohort of students have met every challenge along the way. So today is such a significant and happy day for them, and I'd like to thank them and to thank their parents and families and indeed the school staff who supported them every step of the way.
The HSE says while it's mindful of the challenges facing the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Service, it is making progress. At the end of June this year, there was one young person in Donegal waiting more than a year for an initial assessment. That compares to 0 for the same period last year. However, in total at the end of June, there were 118 young people on the Donegal CAMHS waiting list waiting less than 12 months for an initial assessment. This compares to 165 for the same period last year. That's a fall of 28%. Across the whole of the Community Healthcare Cavan, Donegal, Leitrim, Monaghan, Sligo region, there was a total of 417 young people awaiting initial assessment at the end of June. That compares to 422 for the same period in 2021. The HSE says Donegal CAMHS continues to deliver and improve upon high quality services despite all the challenges that the service is facing. Detectives in Derry are appealing for information following reports of shots fired at a residential premises in the Joyce Court area of the city last night. Just after 20 to 11, police received a report that 4 masked men had attended a residential address and fired shots at the front door. With more, here's Tom Douglas.
Officers attended the property last night and spoke to occupants who reported that 4 masked men had arrived and fired shots at the front door. 2 adults and a young child were present at the time of the incident, but there were no reports of any injuries. Detective Sergeant Ballantyne said inquiries into this incident are ongoing. He appealed to anyone who was in the area at the time and saw any suspicious activity or who may have CCTV footage captured or any other information which could assist to contact police on 101.
The Finance Minister has hinted planned carbon tax increases could be up for discussion ahead of the budget. Legislation would suggest the tax would be increased in the upcoming budget, but the ongoing energy crisis has raised further questions. Electric Ireland yesterday raised its prices for the 3rd time this year, with an additional €450 added to the average customer's annual bill. Finance Minister Donoghue says all taxes will be up for discussion ahead of the budget later this month, but reiterated he is in favour of carbon tax as a whole.
What we will do in relation to all taxes, which we do every year in the budget, is we will assess where we stand with those individual decisions and then make a decision on budget day regarding their future. I'm absolutely committed to carbon taxation. I believe it's invaluable in funding and helping our country transition to a new and better future.
Well, the forecast Met tell us it'll be rather cloudy today with some hazy sunny spells, some showers around this morning. Lots of dry weather though, but in the afternoon showers will become more widespread. They'll merge to give longer spells of rain, particularly this evening. Top temperatures today 17 to 21 degrees Celsius, moderate breezes varying in direction. It'll be cloudy and wet overnight with outbreaks of rain, heavy at times. Lowest overnight temperatures 11 to 14, winds moderate to fresh southeast in direction. Tomorrow morning we'll see rain continue to gradually push northeastwards. The afternoon will see some sunny spells with rain confined to the north coast. Top temperatures on Saturday a little lower, 14 to 17 degrees Celsius. That's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Good morning.
Obituary notices for Friday morning, September 2nd. The death has taken place of Sister Jared McLaughlin, Sisters of Mercy, St Catherine's Convent, Ballyshannon, late of Drummahole, Termon. Reposing at St Catherine's Convent, Ballyshannon, tomorrow from 2 p.m. until 6 p.m. Walk through only, please. Removal on Sunday morning, going to St Patrick's Church, Ballyshannon for 11 a.m. funeral mass with burial afterwards in the Abbey Cemetery. Family flowers only. Inquiries to John McGee and Sons Funeral Home. The death has taken place in Connecticut, USA, of Martin Gallagher, Carrickattaskin, Gweedore. Removal to Rorty's Funeral Home, Derrybeg, via Factory Road today to arrive at 4:30 p.m. Wake from 4:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. with Rosary at 8 p.m. and tomorrow from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. with Rosary at 8 p.m. Funeral Mass in St Mary's Church, Derrybeg on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. with interment afterwards in Mahragallen Cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on Kieran Rorty Funeral Director's Facebook page. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu to the Kevin Bell Repatriation Trust, care of any family member. The death has occurred of Pat Rowan, 116, Marine Drive, Killybegs. Remains reposing at his residence from 12 noon to 10 p.m. today and tomorrow. Removal from his residence on Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. to St Mary of the Visitation Church, Killybegs for 11 o'clock funeral mass. Burial afterwards in the local cemetery. Mass will be streamed live on mcnmedia.tv. House private on the morning of the funeral, please. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu, if desired, to the Oncology Ward, Sligo University Hospital, care of any family member or McBurty Funeral Directors. The death has occurred of Garvin McFadden, the Links, Sea Point, Termonfeckin, County Louth, and formerly of Rathmullen, County Donegal. Reposing at his home today from 2 o'clock until 8 o'clock. Removal tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. to the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Termonfeckin, arriving for funeral mass at 12 noon, which can be viewed live on termonfeckinparish.ie. Burial afterwards in Holy Cross Cemetery, Sheetland Road. Family flowers only. Donations, if desired, to the Irish Cancer Society. House private tomorrow morning. The death has occurred of Marion Douglas, Nee Roger, Lechnatraw, St Johnson. Marion's remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral leaving from her late residence tomorrow morning at 10:15 a.m, going to St Columba's Church, Drummahole for 11 o'clock requiem mass with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flyers only, donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, Letterkenny, care of any family member or Kelly's funeral directors. The death has taken place of Jimmy Cullen, Devlin Ray, Carrigart. Remains reposing at his late residence. Funeral from there tomorrow morning, going to the Church of St John the Baptist, Carrigart, for requiem mass at 11 a.m, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. The death has occurred of Pat Meehan, 39, Ashlawn, Letterkenny, formerly of Kilclooney, Portnew. Pat's remains are reposing at his late residence. Funeral mass tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. in the Church of the Irish Martyrs, Letterkenny. Funeral mass can be viewed live on the parish Facebook page. Family time from 11 p.m. to 9 a.m. and on the morning of the funeral. Family flyers only, donations in lieu if desired to the Irish Community Rapid Response, care of any family member or James McGuinness and Sons funeral director. The death has occurred in Birmingham, England, of David Ewing, formerly of the Curragh, Killygordon. Requiem Mass will be celebrated for David in St Patrick's Church, Crossroads, Killygordon, tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Interment of ashes afterwards in the family grave in the adjoining churchyard. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live on St Patrick's Church, Crossroads, Killygordon Facebook page. And the death has taken place of Robbie Barclay, Town Parks, Convoy, reposing at Gibson's Funeral Home, Convoy today from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Funeral from there tomorrow at 12 noon for service in St Ninian's Parish Church, Convoy at 12:30 p.m. with burial afterwards in the family plot in the adjoining churchyard. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
And you're very welcome back to the programme. Thank you very much to our guests, Barbara, John and Emer as well, for joining us for a discussion on a Friday morning, our Friday panel. It's great to have them on board, and thank you to all of you who messaged and texted in and just listening in as well, which is perfectly fine. I'll get to some of your comments in a moment, but I want to let you know that you have 49 minutes if you want to win €10,000 on the mega cash draw giveaway. We're going to be pulling the numbers out around about 11:30, 20 to 12. You can, of course, watch the whole process, as you can all of the programme, on our website, highlandradio.com, or on our social media. So if you haven't entered yet, feel free to do so right now. But there will be a rush towards 11, so the sooner you get on it, the better. If you want to spend a tenner, and it's up to you if you have it, you know yourself. We don't want anyone spending money they don't have on the dream of winning money. That's not what this is about. But if you have a tenner and you want to have a punt, then get onto the website, highlandradio.com. You'll see a link there to buy your tickets. Now, you could buy your ticket at 12 minutes past 10 and win 10 grand at 11:30. That's the way it is. We are really looking forward to giving that money away. Just again, to clarify, you don't have to come on the radio. You will win if your number comes out. There's no further questions. Whatever number comes out, you win. If you want to chat to us afterwards to share the joy, that's perfectly fine, but it's completely up to you. So if you want to take part, you have to buy your ticket between now and 11 o'clock. And I'm here monitoring the tickets going in as they're purchased. 086 60 25,000 is not the number to text. I don't know why I said it. But if you want to call to buy your ticket, okay, you can do that too. 074 91 25,000. We have Katie on the phones now. She will go through the process with you to get your ticket. If you want to be in the draw for 10 grand, it's just down to that now. We've already given away 10,000 in 2,500 prizes. Congratulations again to Magella McGavigan, wasn't it? I'll be a bit careful. I don't want to get someone's name wrong, but Magella knows she won The winner's already been contacted. Well done to Magella, and well done to our other winners. But at 11:30 or so, one of you who've entered the competition is going to win €10,000 in cash. It's not too late to enter. You can go on our website, as I mentioned, highlandradio.com. Now, if for some reason you have an internet problem or what have you, if you call us right now, we'll get your ticket sorted. 07491 25,000. It's the classic, if you're not in, you cannot win. So if you can afford it, of course, €10. If you want to even punt 50, you can get 6 tickets, and 80 you can get 10. But it's up to you, whichever you want to do, whatever is comfortable for you to do. Right, 07491 25,000. We'll get your ticket processed before 11. You'll be in the draw, I guarantee you that. I'm watching the whole process here myself. Or if you want to go on our website, highlandradio.com, your number will be allocated and you're in. So that is until 11. The lines close at 11 because that gives us time to make sure everybody's number's in the draw drum. It gets a really, really good shuffle, and away we go. So we'll have Michael and Fanula, and Sean will probably stick his head in for the big draw. €10,000 in cash. It's nice, isn't it? Okay. There's more money up for grabs, of course, through bingo, so you'll want to hear if you had any success in that regard. Here are those numbers for you.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Friday the 2nd of September. You're playing on the yellow sheet. The reference number is S15. It's game number 35. The numbers are 43, 29, 32, 16, 38, 90, 76, 62, 50, and finally 37. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Do you currently have vacancies that need urgently filled? Have you tried various ways to find new staff but didn't succeed? Let Highland Radio help you source and fill your current vacancies in the most cost-effective way. Simply sign up to our new job spot and we will tell our listeners about your vacancies both on air and online. Every Monday, Wednesday and Friday during our primetime shows, we will broadcast the latest job opportunities across the Northwest and into counties Derry and Tyrone. All job listings will be available online at highlandradio.com. For more information, contact the advertising team on 07491 25322 or email advertising@highlandradio.com. Highland Radio, we're here for you.
The Donegal Suffolk Sheep Breeders Show and Sale will take place this Saturday, 3rd of September at Rafo Mart. Show is at 10 a.m. with the sale at 12 noon. 60 entries on offer. Online bidding available via martbids.ie. That's this Saturday at Rafo Mart.
Build a better future with a digital transformation course. With digital transformation courses from Advanced Centre, you can improve the way we work together and do business. The power behind 3 of Ireland's leading universities, UCD, ATU Sligo and TU Dublin, have combined to offer flexible, accredited digital transformation courses, from individual modules to full programmes. Starting in September, your future is enrolling now. See advancedcentre.ie.
Don't know why she's leaving.
Joe Gallagher Entertainment presents Chris Norman, the original voice of Smokey, returns to Donegal on the 30th of October to the Mount Errigal Hotel, Letterkenny. Tickets on sale from the Mount Errigal Hotel reception, Joe Gallagher Entertainment office and Ticketmaster.ie.
Kids going back to school? With Donegal's largest selection of 7-seaters available, make sure to visit iMotors. All of our cars come with up to 12 months warranty and are fully checked over by our experienced team of technicians. Call today or visit imotors.ie.
Right, bullying can have long-lasting negative and psychosocial effects on children and young people, according to the Irish Human Rights and Equality Commission. A new report shows dangerous levels of bullying continue to be widely experienced by children at school, online and other youth settings. Professor James O'Higgins-Norman is UNESCO Chair of Tackling Bullying in Schools and Cyberspace and Director of DCU National Anti-Bullying Centre. Joins us on the programme now. Good morning, James. Thanks.
Good morning, and good morning to all your listeners.
The thing with an issue like bullying, even if we maybe just focus on schools for a moment, James, and I'm wondering what your view is on this. my experience working on a program like this and dealing with parents and guardians is that it can vary greatly from school to school. You'll get one school that has an amazing policy and very, strict sanctions if bullying happens, even outside the school, and they're enforced. And you know what? It does create this atmosphere where people can be themselves, go along with their everyday life and not feel under pressure at school. But it's not the same in every school. You hear stories of other schools where someone said they were bullied and next thing their life is made even more of a misery, and then they end up switching schools. The bully stays on, moves on to the next victim. Is that part of the problem, that there's nothing uniform here? It really varies.
Yeah, I think you've described the situation quite well there. And, the part of the issue is that our schools are not uniform. They are linked to local communities. They're populated by different people with different strengths and weaknesses. So it is hard to have a uniform approach across the whole system. And in Ireland, I think we have about 3,500 schools, even just at primary level. So one of the things that the government is trying to do is to bring in a new action plan later on this, maybe next month, and that they've been working on for the last year, to try and give schools the resources and the guidelines to at least achieve a minimum standard in terms of response. And also that variability in response, as I said, is often linked to people having different skill sets and different understandings and different anxieties around this issue of school bullying. So there's a bit of work to be done there in terms of upskilling people and educating teachers and SNAs and other school staff.
Do we need to define more clearly what bullying is? It's been described by some as a serious public health concern. I think to others, it's you grow up quick. It's part of everyday life. Toughen up a little bit. It sets you up for your adult life. So do we need to really be more clear in our definition of what bullying is in terms of public health?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what you described, there are two different realities that are often called bullying, and they're not the same thing. Of course, we need to develop a resilience so that we can take some of the knocks in life that come along. But those kind of knocks are not bullying. That's just part of living and having to deal with, conflict and the challenges of life. Bullying, on the other hand, is very clearly for me defined as harm that's caused to an individual by repeated aggressive negative acts and where there's a power difference. So when we assess whether something is bullying or not, they're the qualities that we look for in the experience. And I think in the new action plan from the government later on this year, we'll see a reaffirmation of what exactly bullying is, and that will help schools then to tackle that.
In my time, if you were bullied at school at 3 o'clock or 3:45, dependent on the school, you got in the car and there was some respite until 9 o'clock the next day, you would almost pray that the person who was responsible for it would be off sick because that was a good day, right? Now, with the cyberbullying element of this, there is no respite for someone who is the victim of bullying. And in fact, in the school environment, it might be one person and two people that hang around with them that could make your life difficult. On social media, someone can create an account and become far more braver in that space than they might in real life. So in other words, the pylons come even thicker and heavier in the evening and nighttime. We can't sort of address bullying unless we do it across all of those areas, including other spaces for young people.
You're absolutely right. And, I don't even like to talk anymore about bullying and cyberbullying, because the research that we are doing at DCU certainly shows, and I think globally the research will say the same, that young people are living their lives online and offline. And if something starts offline, it'll make its way online and vice versa. So the majority of bullying experiences that young people have online are actually related to someone they know from school or in their community. And So it is much harder to deal with it. The extent of its negative impact is much broader and wider, and it can be harder for the person to escape because, as we know, online is 24/7. Mm-hmm. So it requires a response that is holistic in its approach in terms of looking at the young person's whole life and where they are, the spaces they go to, the people they relate to, and then trying to tackle it within that.
Yeah, my concern though is that I just think we've moved on too far almost to go back. I was listening to a national radio program last night or yesterday that we fund, and I'm not asking you to comment on this, but there was a person who had the audacity to speak to the news on that radio station, but not onto a call-in program on that radio station. And because she made that decision, for the next 2 hours, she was name-checked at every single turn. Questions were posed that they would like to put to this person, but she won't come on with us. She won't come on. We've back onto her. She won't come on to us. Now, I don't want to use the bullying word in that regard, okay? But if I was driving in a car with young people listening on, right, and then I was trying to tell them how to treat people in a school environment, and that's how people are treated on the state-funded national airwaves, you know, I just wonder really if we've gone so far that we can't go back.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's a need for a new form of etiquette for how all of us behave online. So and that's across the media, across society, schools, and family life, community, and some of the kind of media and the way that we behave in the media that's out there, you know, can be described sometimes as a pile-on or bullying behavior. And I think we need to check ourselves as adults. What kind of role models are we for children and young people who are coming up to our schools and in our families? And it gets very difficult when you get into public discourse and people are public officials and people expect certain things from them. But it shouldn't change the way that we behave and the kind of etiquette that we have around communication in the public sphere.
Yeah.
And we need to be really, really conscious about what kind of message and what kind of example we're setting for younger people.
Yeah, for sure, because it was full of misquotes, paraphrasing, and I was really, really uncomfortable that this is where we're at, because, you know, that would be the criticism of certain far lefts or far rights, whereby you don't agree with someone, so you hound them to the point that they have to go away. You know, there's a similar story where a bus company wouldn't come on a program and their sponsors were mentioned. And this is on RT, this is on the state broadcast. This is not having a go at RT, but I'm just saying, when we sit down to have a conversation with our children, we have to make sure that we aren't ourselves a party to this type of behaviour. Let me put it to you like this too as well, James. You know, we've been talking about the financial situation earlier on in the first hour of this show, and we were talking about the government needs this, the government needs to do that, and we're helpless, okay? This will make sense in a moment, I hope. In this area, right, we can call on the government like we're doing now to do more, or they're actually doing, but a lot of this is in our hands as people as well. This is something that we don't necessarily, we need legislation maybe, but if we all did our bit, maybe we could start making an impact ourselves without always looking to nanny.
Yeah, it's a bit of both. What the government can do through the new action plan on bullying is facilitate us in how we relate to people and how we cope with and how we tackle and prevent bullying from occurring. But ultimately, it comes down to interpersonal relationships and how people abuse their position in that relationship or not. But you have to go back to why do children, we're talking about children and young people today, and why would they engage in bullying behavior? And, you know, what we know from our research is that it can sometimes be because of a fear of or lack of understanding for diversity. I'm uncomfortable with how you look or the way you talk. I'm not used to that, so I might act out around that. It can be a technological reason. They're just sloppy and not good at using technology or communicating on technology. It can be because of a psychological issue, maybe learned behavior from their family home. He who shouts loudest gets their way. All of these are reasons why somebody might engage in bullying behavior. So at a very local, individual, interpersonal level, that has to be tackled. So the government's role is just to create an environment in which it's seen as an important thing to tackle, and then maybe give us some guidelines and resources around that.
Okay, I kind of reference these conversations regularly when we talk about bullying. You know, I've spoken to men and women in their 60s and 70s that went through a tough year in national school or at the start of secondary school. They remember every incident. And it impacts on them and has their entire life. And the people responsible for the bullying probably don't even remember them from school. But that's the way bullying can affect people, and it can have that lifelong impact. Finally, James.
Not just, it can have a far-reaching impact on the person who's the target of the bullying behavior, but also on their family and on the people who witness or are aware of the bullying. There's research now to show that people who are bystanders to bullying behavior can have experienced negative impacts later on in life, nearly in a post-traumatic stress situation. So the impact of a bullying experience is far-reaching in our society and in individual lives.
Thank you so much for your time this morning. I really appreciate it. Take care of yourself. That's Professor James O'Higgins Norman, who's UNESCO Chair on Tackling Bullying in Schools and Cyberspace and Director of DCU National Anti-Bullying Centre.
If you're aged 50 to 64, it's time to boost your protection from COVID-19. Your protection from previous vaccines or from COVID-19 infection decreases over time. Your next vaccine will help protect you from serious illness in the months ahead. Book an appointment at a HSE vaccination centre on hse.ie. Call our team in HSE Live on 1800 700 700 or contact a participating GP or pharmacy from the HSE. For us all.
What's your dream job? Lawyer, engineer, criminologist, or software developer? Do you want to develop renewable energies, create the next great drama, or improve people's health? Anything is possible at Ulster University Magee campus, where you can study in the heart of Derry, Londonderry. Clearing places are now available to help you realise your ambitions. It's time to say hello future. Apply now for September 2022 at ulster.ac.uk.
If you've got great photos sitting on your phone or in the cloud, why not visit mcgees.ie and see the range of creative options available. Get larger 7x5 prints for the same price as the standard 6x4s, with 100 prints for just €12. Or select from the great range of photo gifts like mouse and placemats, phone covers, jigsaws and clocks. Click and collect or have them delivered. See what you can do with your favourite photos online at mcgees.ie.
In Aldi, a 9-pack of luxury toilet tissue costs only €3.99. And in Super Value, a 9-pack of luxury toilet tissue costs €4.99. Just saying. And swapping to Aldi could save you over €77 on your big family shop compared to Super Value. Now there's something to bear in mind. Comparing own label or equivalent brands, lowest pro rata use. Check 22nd of the 8th, 2022, excluding offers. Products and prices may vary. Details aldi.ie/swap.
This week at Home Store and More, all stools and chairs are half price. Like the Belmont bar stool, now only $74.50. Or the cream boucle chair, now only $149.50. But better hurry, because when all our half-price stools and chairs are gone, they're gone. And remember, all our painting and DIY accessories are also still all half price. But when all our painting and DIY accessories are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Shop online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Okay, just half an hour to get your tickets for the €10,000 draw taking place in an hour, but you've got till 11:086. Keep giving the wrong number. Go down our website, preferably highlandradio.com. Highlandradio.com. Get onto the website, buy your tickets there. Or you can give us a call if you can't get online to 07491 25,000, and hopefully we will. Okay, that is Dream and Things Can Only Get Better. To Bridget and Charlie Kern, Rafo Road, 53 years married today, from daughter Rosemary, son-in-law Liam, grandson Adam down the road. You know where they're at. The Donegal Masters, who are in the final on Saturday playing Galway. Hopefully we have a win and bring something good back to Donegal. Indeed. And I want to mention a coffee morning taking place in O'Flaherty's in Buncrana. It's on Friday morning from 10 a.m. It's in aid of Medjugorje charities. Okay, let's take a quick break. Brendan Devaney is going to be joining us in a moment. This is following an incident at a GEA game down the country in Roscommon, in fact. We're going to get his views on that. Stay tuned.
Do you currently have vacancies that need urgently filled? Have you tried various ways to find new staff but didn't succeed? Let Highland Radio help you source and fill your current vacancies in the most cost-effective way. Simply sign up to our new job spot and we will tell our listeners about your vacancies both on air and online. Every Monday, Wednesday and Friday during our primetime shows, we will broadcast the latest job opportunities across the Northwest and into counties Derry and Tyrone. All job listings will be available online at highlandradio.com. For more information, contact the advertising team on 07491 25322 or email advertising@highlandradio.com. Highland Radio, we're here for you.
On this week's Business Matters, we dip into the archives to feature my chat with the owner of Pat's Pizza in Letterkenny, Mary Bradley, which was first aired back in May. So join me, Kieran O'Donnell, for Business Matters on Sunday evening after the 6 o'clock news. The Business Matters podcast is also available to download at highlandradio.com.
Business Matters in association with the ATU Donegal Faculty of Business. Realise your potential by enrolling on the part-time degree in business. Only 3 years with just 1 evening per week on campus. Open up your future by calling 9186206 or visit lyit.ie today. With restrictions lifted, Special Olympics Ireland want to ensure that adults and children with intellectual disabilities get back to training, competing and meeting their friends again. This can only happen with the support of volunteers. If you would like to help any of the 8 local clubs here in Donegal, please come along to an open evening at Cargilla Céile on the grounds of St Connell's in Letterkenny on Wednesday evening the 7th of September from 7 to 8:30. Volunteers aged 15 and over are needed as coaches, trainers, event organisers and fundraisers. Enrich your life and help transform the life of others as a volunteer with Special Olympics Ireland. For more information, visit the Special Olympics Ulster Facebook page.
With selected models readily available, it's time to treat yourself to a brand new car. Our Kia lineup is unbeatable in their class. Call today or visit us in Letterkenny or Malin or visit imotors.ie.
Okay, Roscommon GAA club St Aidan's is investigating an incident that occurred during an under-17s game on their club grounds yesterday evening in which a referee was allegedly assaulted. This is actually the evening before last, I beg your pardon. The club wishes him a speedy recovery while thanking the medical personnel who assisted him. Gardaí are making inquiries into the incident while Roscommon GAA is investigating the matter. Okay, so I want to make sure that we give this the level of attention that it is justified. And to help me with that, of course, you go to someone who knows their stuff. Brendan Devaney, presenter of the DL debate, and everyone knows his sporting background. So I suppose from the off, this is, we'll condemn this outright, of course, Brendan, but I just want to get a sense of, is this a once-off, really, and maybe not a true reflection of what referees has to go through, what goes on the pitch, or is this really what happens when we allow sort of an attitude towards referees and what have you to fester?
You know, I think this type of incident, Greg, definitely is a very rare. Which, listen, if it wasn't, you know, our games would cease to exist. Very shocking to hear it. Very sad to hear it. You know, you often hear about the abuse and the stupid calling and the verbals that come at refs, but thankfully the physical stuff. There has been all physical altercations, but at this level, this guy had to go to hospital. I mean, Kevin Naughton, I mean, he's gone out, you know, and what must be a hobby and a pastime for him, and an under-17 game as well. Greg, you know, all those young lads growing up into young men, you know, there's so much at play here. You're like, it's such a horrible incident. I mean, for the fella himself and his family and that, as soon as it came out, I mean, I got reports, I got the WhatsApp. Now, initially it was saying he was struck, and then there's other reports coming out saying that he was pushed and he fell to the ground, and that doesn't add up, Greg. I mean, he's on a football pitch. You don't get pushed and fall to the ground on a football pitch and end up in hospital. So that wee aspect of the footage is missing. But of course, you have witnesses everywhere. Now, talking to people from down there, Greg, the fella in question that's supposed to have carried out this assault, he goes by a nickname of Psycho, which mightn't help matters a lot. I mean, I hear he's a real fiery character, and so this, I mean, of course, it has to take its course. The refs have gone on strike in Roscommon until Sunday night in response to this, Greg. But I suppose it's not really a Roscommon thing or like anything that the refs can do. It really is an educational thing, and it's just, as I say, a sad incident to happen.
I'm not sure if this is a situation we developed ourselves or inherited it from the English game of soccer, but it seems abuse of referees and lines people is part of it. It seems to be okay for them to be the lightning rod for people's anger. Now there's a big difference between shouting, "Come on, ref," but also some of the verbals. I've seen it at an under-12 game. The verbal abuse a referee got to the point he actually had to just storm off the pitch and jump straight in the car and away. I think it was under 12. I can't remember the exact format. So it's at all levels. And sometimes it's the parents and sometimes it's the coaches that are involved. So what do we do? How do we change this culture then?
It's interesting, as you said, that happened at underage match, Greg, because if it's starting there and the kids are seeing it, how is it ever going to stop? I don't think it's possible to ever stop it. I think as much as we can. I mean, there's been different things ruled out from the GA, give respect, get respect. I interviewed two of our top refs last year, Seamus McGonigal and Enda McFeely, and Enda had considered, quitting because of the constant crap that he had to listen to. And as Seamus was saying that night, Enda is highlighted by our Ulster Council as one of the best refs in the province, is given Ulster club games and that. So, here's somebody in Donegal then that's getting abuse from people, and he's been regarded as one of our best refs. So, he has decisions to make in the pitch. Of course, people get upset about that. But as you said, going back to underage, it has to start there, and there has to be, I suppose, it has to be compliant that everybody has given a certain amount of respect. And once that line is drawn, I think the games have to be stopped at underage level in particular. They'll be at least bed that into the younger people that this isn't acceptable. Now, there was a big survey carried out just recently, actually, by Noel Brick with Ulster University. And it's the first one of its kind, but they actually surveyed refs about verbal and physical abuse. So 95%, not surprisingly, said they got verbal abuse. And I would love to know who the 5% was that wasn't, Greg, because you think so.
Well, they were probably thick-skinned or something, and they probably thought maybe it's part of the game. They might even enjoy it. Do you know? And I don't mean that in any, but do you know, people are different.
I know what you mean, Greg. You're not taking it aboard. The person isn't actually maybe shouting at you. He's shouting because he or she is probably frustrated in their own life first, and they're taking out a bit of that grievance on a game where their heart starts racing and they get involved. But only 3% of refs said they had some kind of physical abuse, which maybe would surprise a lot of people, Greg. But I think this is the first time we've had figures. Now, they're not that different from the soccer figures from Britain and from the rest of Europe. They're slightly higher. But I think now, at least, if you're on about plans and if the GA's putting a plan together, I think now if you have figures, at least then you have something to work with.
Of course, yeah. But listen, the obvious example, so I might as well go for it, is rugby. Do you know what I mean? Whereby there is it's might, so we know there seems to be a built-in level of respect there between the players and the ref, whether they like them or not. I'm not sure I haven't been to a live rugby game, so I'm not sure how much the crowd get on the back of the referee. So we have sports where the same people probably go to them, but their interaction and reaction to the referee is very, very different. You'll also see, like say for instance, to a lesser extent in the likes of boxing, where people will shout ref, but it doesn't get as personal or as targeted, and certainly doesn't get as physical in what I've seen. So maybe taking rugby is the most obvious comparison. What is the difference there? Why is there a different atmosphere in a stadium or around a pitch in a rugby game versus a GAA or soccer game?
Yeah, the rugby one always comes up, Greg, and it's not a like-for-like comparison, simply because, I mean, soccer's a like-for-like comparison. You see similar things going on. I'll tell you, the difference with rugby is most of the fouls are very clearly defined, and most of the time the two teams are away from each other. And when a foul happens, it's fairly straightforward, and one team steps back, the other team steps. In soccer and Gaelic, everybody's intermingling in terms of tackling and where they are in the pitch. And plus, there's very different, I suppose, outlooks on what is a foul in Gaelic and what isn't a foul. And that's why I think rugby people just take that was an offside or that was a knock on, and so their fouls tend not to be as controversial or not to be as heated in terms of people see things a different way. And I think the most likely comparison is with soccer because of, again, there's a same type of thing happening there in terms of how the games are played, and as you say, there's a similar amount of abuse going on from their reports as well.
Yeah, but back to the underage level, often you'd have a ref who's on the pitch on their own, probably like me, I can't do 100 metres dash in under 10 seconds. So there's no official linesmen. They're running, trying to follow. Maybe they've just done a girls' game onto a boys' game. Maybe they're doing over 18s the next night or whatever. But whatever about the young ones, they will see what the coaches in the crowd are doing and saying. And that, if we can't get that right, I don't think really there's much point skipping on to under 17s. You know what I mean? If we're not getting the very young ones to have that respect and understanding and to shake hands with the ref at the end of the game, I think you've said it. That's really where we need to start then, is it?
Yeah. I don't, Greg, see the last few championship games I've been at, and that I actually haven't seen much abuse at all going towards refs and that. I'm hoping that it is changing that, but that people are copping on it. But we've seen, Greg, we spoke to you before about Declan Bonner's departure, and in general, a lot of kind of vented anger out there at different things.
Personal stuff.
Yeah, and it's misplaced now. The GA obviously are always having plans. They have a 4-year plan at the minute. And in that, there's a big recruitment drive for refs, and there's an aspire side of it for respect. But I think these types of reports and these things are all well and good, Greg, but they need to be actioned and followed up. And I think the GA often have maybe like a wish list, and the president comes in and we want to do this, we want to do that. Where's the meat in this? And I think that's why I say that report is something now. I think we need to work towards. But as you said, hearing that story, even you said about a ref leaving an underage thing, I mean, that's absolutely scandalous for me, because, no ref, no game, simple as that. And these guys are out, a bit like the players, trying to do the right job. And listen, people can get a bit upset about stuff, but I always think just where you're at, even in the crowd, Greg, if I see a grown man shouting the ref or maybe throwing out a few choice words, I always think of the kids around, and that's where you're right. That's where it has to start, and I think that's what the GA need to do, to focus in on that respect and really have that message, Greg, not just that it's out there on their website or something, but actually go and engage with clubs and make sure that the underage.
And they've just got rid of taking the knee, for example, in England, the Premier League recently, because it was happening every day. It was every match. It was losing its impact. The message was being lost, and now they're sort of going to use it only on certain matches. So the message has gotten across there. And it reminds me a little bit about some of the buzzwords that you've Inspire or the other sort of little things that are being launched here. At the end of the day, unless there's action, it makes you feel like you're doing something, but people just hear the words and move past it and nothing changes. So, all right, listen, Brendan, as always, thanks for your insight. Chat to you Monday. Take care of yourself. All right. Now, Bernie, good morning to you.
Yes, Greg, how are you?
I am good. Now, you had a young person. Tell us the story, Bernie.
Well, I suppose this had evoked a lot of sort of memories for me this morning. This came up on my newsfeed, and I made a comment about it, and then I just happened to put on the radio and I heard that Brendan was coming on. And, as somebody that goes to matches nearly every week, I have to say, as a mum who is my sole aim in this world is to protect the well-being of my child that I brought into the world. He may be 21 now, but I mean, it is sometimes war, Greg. That's all I can describe it. I just find it very, very difficult as a mum to watch. And he's at maybe senior levels are different. It was a club match, and my response this morning on Facebook was, I think there's temporary insanity and psychopathic tendencies to people or men who are otherwise decent human beings. It's like a red mist. Now, I don't know what you do about that. I don't know how we change that as a society.
It's hard to know, Bernie, because I'm
something
sure in the dressing room, you know, I'm not talking to the incident involving your son, but in a dressing room, does the management not build them up and say, right, we have to go out and take this, we have to grab it? But, you know, they're built up, and they're built up in the community in the week leading up to the game. And I suppose it's channeling that emotion into, you know, acceptable aggression and determination, but not anger and violence.
100%, and I think at home, you know, I certainly would teach that to my son. He's got a beautiful talent, and you know, and a lot of the times, I suppose that can be the target. For the incident with my son, he was just 20 at the time, and after about 8 minutes of the game, I watched to the side. It wasn't particularly bad, but I suppose, you know, I have to be honest here and say it as I see it. I feel that people or boys that or men that have maybe a wee bit more talented or faster, you know, it's like, well, he needs to be taken out of the game.
You see that at county level. You see it at county level. That happens.
Yeah.
So what happened to your son? So you were at the game, Bernie, are you?
I was at the game, and you know, and I go now with trepidation week after week, really just for safety. So after 8 minutes, it looked like maybe a shoulder. The other boy was rolling, I suppose. You know, there's always that sort of antics, but my son wasn't rolling, and I sort of looked down and ran down myself, seeing a very white face, and he went to try and stand up, and he just couldn't get to his feet, and he buckled again and fell, and you know, and I sort of felt like, you know, maybe a hysterical mother on the sideline. But anyway, eventually, there's no fault here, but it was just like that. Maybe they didn't realize the severity, but anyway, what had actually happened was he got, you know, a shoulder, but it went into his chest, however that happens, but that's what I was told. And the shoulder, he ended up having a punctured lung, and he ended up having a regular heart. You know, his heart was really thrown off with the force of the impact. Now, as I was walking down the sideline, a man had said to me, please take your son right away into hospital. As it transpired, he had been a teacher in Dublin and had seen a similar incident where the young fella had a cardiac arrest and died. My son, we got him eventually to hospital where he started to cough up blood. It was an absolute life-changing for me as his mum, as you can imagine.
I can.
He was a week in hospital, a week in hospital, and all that entails, and then these irregularities in his heart, and I had gone from 0 to 90. He's back playing. He loves the sport. It took him about maybe 5 months to, you know, completely rehabilitate after such an injury, and I just said, for me, there's something so deep within me to say, stop this nonsense, because I had gone as far as I could. I went and rang, you know, everybody that would listen to me about the incident, and they were very nice.
To achieve with,
nods.
Sorry, Bernie, what were you hoping to achieve with the calls? Do you know, like, what would you? You felt like doors were being closed in your face, but what did you want to come from your representations?
I want to eradicate this nonsense that is taking somebody out of the game, or like that with a ref, that it doesn't matter, at all costs you win. There has to be something at a fundamental level that we have to start. When my boys started, it was fun. You stood at the sideline. I know there was fun, there was banter, there was rivalry between different parishes or different clubs. Oh my God, that is gone. It's anger, it's aggression. Sometimes I move away from the sideline because of what I hear shouted to refs and shouted to players. I don't know. It's like, it is insanity. I would never want a mum or dad to have to go through what we went through. I was so scared.
But you're still going through it, though, because you're still wondering on the sideline, is there a lasting impact from this? Might it happen again? Is he particularly vulnerable in that area to a knock? I'm sure all of those thoughts constantly go through your head going forward.
Absolutely, and I think, I hope somebody doesn't know and now target that area where they know where it hurts. Maybe it's. I suppose as human beings, I grew up in a family where I had 5 brothers that played football, and I'm not saying it was perfect then, it was anything but, and there was a certain amount of accepted buggery is all you could say. But I think we've moved past that. We have changed in so many ways to make things better as much as we can regarding sport. And when I spoke to our county board manager, I said, what would it have taken that day for Ronan? Would it have taken him to die for there to be a change? To say, I got the ref report, I seen the video, and they were saying, it's a contact sport. If he's going to be in contact, that's just, he was just unfortunate. I felt for me, and for him, I felt it was a bit more than that.
Yeah, and with what you're being told, what you went through, what your son went through is just collateral damage. In other words, if you want to play the sport, you have to accept that that's likely. But you say the intent here was to take him out of it. It wasn't 2 people going in for a ball. It wasn't a slip. I'm guessing he's a star player, and what do? You get them out of the game early. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you don't feel
targeted, and he's 20. Yep.
There's a slight delay. There's a slight delay on the line.
No.
But we've got through it. Bernie, did you try and discourage him from playing? Tell the truth, shame the devil.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's what I was coming to next.
Okay.
He's a great athlete, and and I was saying, I know what Brendan was saying about statistics, but I'd say a lot goes unrecorded in Gaelic. I can only say that from my mum standing at the sideline, because when you read the report from the match and you say, really? I don't know. I think that was exactly different. I mean, not to get into too many details, but there's matches where they're battered, they're blue, they're, nips, and it's just, where does that change? We bring up our sons as mums and daddies and fathers to do the best. There's, we do it the best we can at home, but it has to change.
But you don't see that type. If you watch the women's game, you don't see that type of, really, really cynical foul as much, where the intent is to hurt and remove a player from the game. So it is almost uniquely in the male game. Bernie, listen, continued success for your son, and continued good health for him and for you.
Yes.
I'm starting to wonder if you need a medical team around you on the sideline at this stage, Bernie.
No, I'll stay away. Away and breathe deeply.
All right, take care of yourself. Bye-bye. Lovely to chat to you. Thank you very much indeed.
Brian McCormick, Sports and Leisure, your football specialist. Multi-buy discounts on footballs from Mitre, Adidas and O'Neill's. Training equipment, combs, bibs, water bottle sets. View our complete range on bmcsports.ie. Have your team look the part with some Adidas leisure wear. New Entrada 22 quarter zips with matching bottoms. Training packs available for all ages. Look the part, play the part. In-store, online, mobile. Click and collect on bmcsports.ie.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
Fleet owners, Cargo Defenders is your one-stop supplier for all your vehicle technology, including GPS vehicle tracking, remote tachograph downloading solutions, dash cams or 4G multi-camera systems. For more information, call Cargo Defenders on 074 9710 110 or visit cargodefenders.ie.
New farm schemes get the green light. For more in your Farmer's Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
EU Commission approves Ireland's CAP plan. We reveal how grain growers get just 1 cent from a pint of stout. Fears over fertiliser supply for next spring. Farmers will foot bill for extra TB testing. Have we reached peak milk price? Demand for firewood soars, and ram prices increased by €46 a head.
Plus, don't miss our focus on autumn animal health inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
My 10-year-old was given a dislocated shoulder in a match. He was the goalie, but the 2 boys who did it in a dirty tackle got away with it. This abuse is learned from an early age. I had to teach him to dirty tackle back because it was the only way. And other players getting off with red cards and stuff like that doesn't help disciplinary issues. Another abuse towards ref is not a new phenomenon. My father often told me of his experience in the 60s as a linesman at a Partick Thistle versus Rangers game. After he flagged a dodgy offside decision, he had to get a police escort from Firhill and stay off work for a week. And another, Greg, the difference between rugby and soccer is that there is a great discipline in rugby. They're gentle giants. But you heard from Brendan Devaney there. He's suggesting that it's a different type of a game and there isn't that same... That's his point of view. I'm not thoroughly convinced by that. But as I say, that's what Brendan believes. What do you think? Coming up in the next hour, one of you listening who's purchased a ticket is going to win €10,000 in cash. It's so exciting. Michael and Fanula are going to be with us and loads of other guests as well. Stay right where you are. It's 11 o'clock. Let's get a news update and say good morning, Emma Ryan.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A Donegal TD says he's been trying to advance a proposal to address the shortage of doctors in the country, but the Minister for Health won't even respond to his emails. Deputy Thomas Pringle is urging Stephen Donnelly to consider recruiting doctors from Cuba and has had positive discussions about the proposal with the Cuban ambassador. He believes recognition of qualifications should not be an issue and says what is needed now is for the government to act. The joint funeral of 2 teenagers who died after a tragedy at Derry's Lough Ena is taking place this morning. They died while swimming in the lake on Monday evening. Joseph Sebastian and Raven Simon's funeral mass at St Mary's Church, Ardmore, will incorporate the music and language of India as they belong to the city's Kerala Indian community. The HSE said it is mindful of the challenges facing the child and adolescent mental health services. It is making progress. At the end of June this year, there was 1 person in the south of the county waiting more than a year for an initial assessment by the Donegal Child and Adolescent Mental Health Service. This compares to 0 for the same period last year. Meanwhile, there were 118 young people waiting less than 12 months for an initial assessment. This compares to 165 for the same period last year, a fall of 28%. More than 61,000 Leaving Cert students have received their results in the past hour. In Donegal, there were 2,151 people registered to sit the Leaving Cert exams in June, while a further 99 people were registered to sit the Leaving Cert applied. Over half of this year's grades have been inflated to bring them in line with last year's record high results. But there is concerns that this could lead to universities using random selection for college places when first round of CAO offers are made available next Thursday. Detectives are appealing for information following a report of shots fired at a residential premises in the Joyce Court area of Derry last night. Shortly after 10:40 p.m, police received a report that 4 masked men had attended a residential address and fired shots at the front door. 2 adults and a young child were present at the time, but there were no reports of any injuries. Police say inquiries into this incident are ongoing. And finally, a Fine Gael senator has called for the clocks not to go back this winter to ease the cost of living pressure on households. Cork's Tim Lombard wants the tradition, due on October 30th, to be abandoned. He told Cork's C103 radio it would be a practical solution to a serious problem. That's all for now. We'll be back with a news update again at 12 o'clock, but until then, good morning.
Okay, Emma, back shortly.
This week at Centra, choose amazing mega deals in our better than half price sale, like Robinson's Fruit Shoot 4-pack now $1.83. Kellogg's selected cereals like Rice Krispies 700 gram now $2.92. And Nature Valley Family Pack 10 bars now $3.45. Smart choices, choose Centra. Centra, live every day.
These days, we're all looking for healthy, tasty family meals and lots of variety. The good news is that our fishermen continue to bring us the best of the catch, like fresh Irish hake and haddock. There are so many ways to enjoy them. Try delicious Thai curry with hake or mouth-watering Cajun seasoned haddock. For lots of tasty recipes and different meal ideas, visit boardbeer.ie and look out for Irish hake and haddock next time you're shopping. Fresh ideas, great meals.
Donegal Local Development Company is hosting a showcase event called Celebrating Donegal Business in the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny on Saturday the 10th of September from 12 noon to 4 p.m. This event is free to attend and features the very best in local businesses. Find your perfect tradesman, beauty product, gift idea, outdoor adventure and much more, all in the one place. Come along and support your local businesses on a day that's guaranteed to be fun for all. There's lots of spot prizes and face painting for the kids. Make Celebrating Donegal Business your business this September the 10th. For more information, visit dldc.org.
Don't know why she's leaving.
Joe Gallagher Entertainment presents Chris Norman, the original voice of Smokey, returns to Donegal on the 30th of October to the Mount Erigal Hotel, Letterkenny. Tickets on sale from the Mount Erigal Hotel reception, Joe Gallagher Entertainment office and ticketmaster.ie.
Anyone aged 12 or over with a long-term health condition can now boost their protection from COVID-19. Your protection from previous vaccines or from COVID-19 infection decreases over time. Your next vaccine will help protect you from serious illness in the months ahead. For more information or to book an appointment at a HSE vaccination centre, visit hsc.ie. Call our team in HSE Live on 1800 700 700 or contact a participating GP or pharmacy. From the HSE, for us all.
All right, it's the last hour of the week. In about 30 odd minutes, one of you out there who's entered the competition is going to be winning €10,000. Fanula is back from her gallivanting.
I know. Highly recommending Austria.
Oh, you were in Austria?
Yeah.
Talk to us about it. Was it nice?
It's absolutely beautiful. I didn't even realise how nice it was. I'd only been to Vienna before, but this time we travelled around. Went to Salzburg and saw where Mozart was born, and more importantly, where The Sound of Music was filmed. Let's get our facts right.
That was for research for this. Yeah,
oh
of course,
my God! I actually was there. Spent the rest of the time then just YouTubing scenes from The Sound of Music. I may have a problem.
Very good. Well, it's great to have you back, Michael. You're glad to have your partner in crime back, I'm sure, aren't you?
I think
no, it's gone again. Tap that thing. Screw the top of it. It was working fine there. Yeah. No. It's very temperamental. Right, okay, so also, did I say it already, €10,000 being given away a little later on. It's very exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's great. We've had a fantastic response to the draw competition, whatever way we want to call it. And it's just been amazing. People really have engaged with it. And we've had 4 wonderful winners from all across the county, which has been brilliant, winning $2,500 each. So I hope they've gone out and are spending it on something ridiculous. You know me, that's my attitude. Money that comes to you like this, you should always just spend it on something completely crazy or just, I don't know, something you've always dreamed about doing. I think you need to treat yourself. That's my whole thing.
Keep talking.
So today, somebody can treat themselves really well after today's show because they'll have won €10,000, which is a fantastic amount of money, with kids going back to school and us coming up to Christmas and everything. Yeah, it's just fun. It's a great amount of money to keep you going till the end of the year.
Michael, speak. Hello. No, it's even worse. I don't know what's going on. I'll sort you out in a second. Right, okay, bring that one over there. I can't do with this stress. It's just been one of those days already. What about now? No? Right, okay, so I want to talk about Michael Flatley, his film, because I can't remember exactly, Michael. I think we wanted it to be better than the critics wanted it to be, and you are kind of a critic. But Fanula, you've been running through some of the reviews, and they're hilarious and cruel and understandable, I suppose.
Yeah, I have to say, this is when that slightly bad devil evil kind of comes out in me, because I really want this to be as bad as one would assume it's going to be. It just screams this is going to be one of the worst nights in the cinema for ages, and I cannot wait to go. We were just talking about it before we came in. It starts tomorrow, I think, in today. It starts today in Century, and if I get through the night without going to see it, it'll be a miracle.
When was the last time there was a film like this where people wanted to go to it to see how bad it is and are prepared to go and have that experience? Could it become a cult classic? What do you think, Michael?
Yes.
No?
Oh,
Hold on. What's that like now? This one here. Take that there now.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Perfect.
1, 2.
Now we're in the zone.
This one here, yeah?
Yep.
Yes, I'm convinced it'll be a cult classic. I also think it'll be a financial hit because everybody wants to see it. I can't wait. We were chatting about it before we came in to chat to you, Greg, and I was like, sometimes when we want to see a film, myself and Fanula, we're like, we'll go during the week, Wednesday, Thursday, but we're both like, will we just go this weekend? Will we just go tonight? Will we go tomorrow? We want to see it. So,
and we've maybe seen there more than once.
Yeah. And the reviews are hilarious. I've read a couple of reviews, and they talk of having to have.
Are they cruel? Does it matter? I mean,
they are cruel. Yeah, they're completely cruel. But I think it seems like he's made himself a target. There's a certain element of, I suppose, pomposity when someone sets themselves up by making a movie where they're the super cool secret agent, and you're like,
But is that not what we all would dream of?
Sure,
I mean, it's a little bit like Seth. He wanted to be Captain Picard, so he made Captain Picard. He made
his own show. Yeah, well,
he was just lucky that he had a modicum of talent that he was able to put into that general area.
Or
and
surround yourself.
Lots of talent.
Like Seth surrounded himself with ex-Star Trek writers and producers. Michael Flatley has gotten a girl who played one of the USO dancers on a Captain America. That's the truth. And I mean, no disrespect to that lady and her talent, but she's the leading lady, and it's not like...
I think that people will rally against critics and really, really enjoy this. No? Could it possibly be?
In an ironic way. Enjoy it ironically.
Well, we don't know until we see it, which is mainly the key thing.
We may see it. I may come back here saying that it is the best...
But I bet you both are excited to go and see it.
Yes.
Oh, God, yeah, I can't wait to see it.
I can't wait
to see it. And I would imagine that there's going to be an awful lot of people going to see it this weekend. And whether or not they come out enjoying it or not, because how many times have we come out for movies that critics have said that they weren't any good or whatever. But as I always say, it's like when you go to the theatre or you go to anything like that, you never leave these things with everything being terrible in it. You know what I mean? There'll always be something.
Is it a myth?
There's a stellar cast in this, bar Michael Flatley.
There is, yeah.
Is it a myth that at some point he dances and knives fire out of his shoes? Has that been confirmed?
Oh, spoiler! You're going to ruin the film for me, Greg. That could be
that was one of the things that they were talking about.
Is that real?
Happens in it.
I mean, it has to.
Oh, well, one would assume he would have put that in specifically himself.
But I want to come in next week and I want people to say, we went to see and it was the best crack. Do you know like how people, maybe I've already made this reference while I was concentrating on this mics and stuff.
Yep.
But do you know how people watch the Eurovision and they love the campness of it?
Of course,
they love the way it's... I have this feeling
and the
that
Rose
maybe
Tralee has the same type of thing.
There's an ironic. You can like something in an ironic way where you like it, but you're aware of its.
I think that could happen with Blackbird.
Look, I think my only concern is that while we're all liking it in an ironic way, Michael Flatley's going to see that it's made a load of money and he's going to do a sequel. And I'm just. Part of me admires him because, like I say, I think when you have money, like I'm saying about you win the 10,000, you should just do something you really want to do.
Of course,
but you know, like in the James Bond film,
he's just blowing his
where
money.
one of the, you know, like David Craig's really good at it. Do you know where you just
Daniel,
have to sort of Daniel Craig?
Yep.
Sorry,
yeah.
You know where you have to sort of look at the camera and look a certain way.
Yes.
Don't do it. No, please, seriously, don't do it. Do it again. Go on.
Into the camera, would you?
Into the camera.
Well, I'll tell you something, Greg.
So that's not learned. I think that's what separates you out to be the charismatic character that gets these. I just have a sense that he's going to spend an hour and a half or 2 hours trying that look, the smouldering look. But anyway, okay.
Yeah.
So does anyone want to go run through the basic storyline?
I could.
I don't even know. Does anybody actually really?
Nothing
I've read.
Well, he's
an ex-agent.
Ex-agent.
His true love has been killed or something. He's
He's
retired.
had enough.
he's had enough. He's retired to a sort of a Casablanca type setup, a bar. But there's a crisis, and then
he's in a hotel because there's a guest in the hotel who's a baddie.
Yes, and they pull him back in. They basically pull him back in.
Trying to get away, but they pull you back in.
And there's a poker game, and there's a lady who was a USO dancer on the first Captain America as the leading.
What's a USO dancer? Pardon me.
I
let it go the first time.
No, Captain America in the first film, World War II, Cap was in Europe, and they were the entertainment. So when Steve
Understood. I made the connection.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So you're going to watch it this week.
Oh, this weekend.
This weekend. Yeah.
Hi, Greg and Telly Toomey thinks the Blackbird, let alone leaving people feeling flat. Will probably do the opposite, as I bet it'll be the next Sharknado. I really think Sharknado could be. As Flatley is on the LLS tonight. Oh, he's on the Late Late Show tonight. I might have to watch that.
He is.
I've never watched that programme, but I might actually have to watch this. They couldn't afford Eric Roberts now, as he's fresh from five
Eric Roberts, isn't it?
The Shark sequel to Three-Headed Shark. Right, Kevin, sorry, I missed you the last couple of weeks, Kevin, because we were out in OBs and stuff, and I didn't get to it. Right, okay, so he's on the Late Late Show tonight.
Yeah,
there you go. Now Kevin could be right. That Sharknado thing, I think there's like 10 of them.
It's huge, yeah, they're huge.
It's massive, and the concept of it is insanity.
It can be so good.
It rained sharks in one that I watched one time.
See, we presume.
But I don't even know how you get the physics.
But see, we presume, right? If you think of if you want to make Top Gun, you make Hot Shots, right? And it's ironically entertaining and funny, and then you can make multiples of them.
Yeah.
But with a lot of those shark films, and there's a few other examples.
Of course, yeah.
It doesn't have to be funny. It can be so bad it's good without it having to be a comedy.
Of course.
That make
sense?
It
does. And like I've mentioned before, Mystery Science Theater 3000, which had episodes on Netflix, and they had a vast library, like 200 truly bad films that are hugely entertaining to watch, because and it's not just from the 50s or 60s or 70s. They have, in the newer episodes, they were including ones from as recent as 2008, like the Pacific Rim movies, where someone did a sort of Atlantic Rim, which is very cheap looking big robots, and and they mean it. They're obviously trying to be quite earnest, but it's terrible, and it's like you love it because you're like, I can't believe people filmed this.
Even if you go back to the days of the video store, there was one line, right, of the latest films, a mixture of it. There was another couple of lines of, films from a few years back that we haven't watched that in a while.
Yeah.
The rest of it, 90% of it, was full of
just
stuff like Blackbird.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Maybe not quite. I think Blackbird might be to a lower level, but you're right. Cheap, bad movies. Yeah, cheap, bad movies. And there's a certain charm to them. 90s cheap action films are quite charming, they can be, but they're not good. But they're entertaining. See, good and entertaining, not always the same thing.
All right, Blackbird. Now, if you're Googling it, don't put a space between Black and Bird, or you'll end up getting
the TV show,
the ratings for an excellent TV show.
Yeah, which I'm definitely going to, other people after you recommending it, it's going to begin a conversation.
You have to put Blackbird together. There's a couple have been on IDMB, and they're like, it's amazing, it's brilliant, wait till you see it and stuff. And I think the reality might dawn that it's not a 8 out of 10er very soon. Okay, I can't wait for you.
It could be brilliant.
I may be calling it the best film since On Colleen Keown. Who knows?
So if you... what a load of nonsense that is. It's not going to be that good. But if you are interested...
battle.
If you're interested in finding out what Michael and Fanula think of Blackbird, they are actually going to watch it this week, and we're going to give a review of it next Friday. And I, honestly, that's appointment radio there.
In fairness, I feel like it's more than likely we're going to be going tomorrow night, so...
Yes, I'm on board for that. And if you can't wait, just come and stand on the cinema steps and you'll hear us arguing about it
as we leave.
Or
while the credits are rolling, which is
usually
when we start our arguments about whether we like the movie or not. So while the credits are rolling, you'll get an
Well, if it's better
track.
than Crawdads, I'll be happy. I mean,
I told you Crawdads was going to be.
You bailed on. I thought that was going to be our. You didn't.
Rightio, let's take a break. Coming up in the next 20 minutes, we are going to be giving one of you who entered our competition. And by the way, the lines are now closed. The internet portal is now no longer of use to you, because all the people who have bought tickets, their names are going into the Trombola. and we will be giving it a few more rotations, digging in deep, and one of you is going to win €10,000 in cash. €2,500 is amazing. I would love it. It would just give you that little lift. It would cover the home heat and all for the year. I don't know what it might cover, but 10, I can start thinking about bathrooms. Do you know what I mean? I can start thinking bathrooms and maybe a little holiday. That's all ahead of someone out there. Okay, we'll be back with that and so much more after we take this break.
Do you currently have vacancies that need urgently filled? Have you tried various ways to find new staff but didn't succeed? Let Highland Radio help you source and fill your current vacancies in the most cost-effective way. Simply sign up to our new job spot and we will tell our listeners about your vacancies both on air and online. Every Monday, Wednesday and Friday during our primetime shows, we will broadcast the latest job opportunities across the Northwest and into counties Derry and Tyrone. All job listings will be available online at highlandradio.com. For more information, contact the advertising team on 07491 25322 or email advertising@highlandradio.com. Highland Radio, we're here for you.
Attention pet owners, do you ever wonder what is the best food for your dog? Organic, grain-free, or dry and wet food mixed? Don't ask just anyone, ask Maxi Zoo. We'll find exactly the right nutrition for your pet. Let us advise you in your local store. Find yours at maxizoo.ie. Maxi Zoo, Ireland's largest pet retailer.
Charity Drive, Sunday 4th of September starts at Quigley's Point Community Centre at 12 o'clock. Drive open to tractors, cars, trucks and all vintage vehicles. Auction at 7 o'clock in Carberry House Bar with lots of good items for sale. All proceeds to the Donegal Hospice and Friends of Letterkenny Hospital. This ad is kindly sponsored by McKenna's Service Station, Drone Quigley's Point.
McDade's Bathroom, Plumbing and Tiles, serving the Northwest for over 40 years. Explore our showroom with more than 40 displays. Choose from an array of shower doors, shower trays, baths and bathroom accessories. Speak with an expert about tile selection and wall paneling. We also stock an array of plumbing, heating and stove spare parts, as well as a great selection of kitchen mixers and radiators at our trade counter. Our stove department is also available for you to choose a style that suits your needs and complements your home. McDade's Bathroom, Plumbing, Tiles, Buncrana. We're here for you.
Okay, before we get on to what you've actually watched, and I'll open this one to our listeners, 086 60 25,000 as well, and I'll start with you on this, Michael. You know, we've talked about Seth MacFarlane and his vanity project, you could say, was making a Star Trek type of film.
Yeah.
Michael Flatley, he wants to be James Bond, right? So if money's no option, okay, and you could make a film just to satisfy what you want, right? What would it be?
Oh, off the top of my head, I'd probably go with, I'd be on the phone to Jim Arterton and I'd say, look, I won 10 grand in the Highland Radio and I want to get you on board. That leaves me with €150.
What would you be, a superhero?
I didn't know. I wouldn't. No, I'd probably just go for a comedy first. I'd probably try and do something funny. That would be my short. Yeah, do a comedy. It wouldn't be a James Bond thing. No.
God knows you haven't achieved it so far. Fanula,
there's no part for you in the film, Greg. There was up to about 30 seconds ago, but it's not happening now.
What about
you're blown?
What about you, Fanula?
I would be straight on to Kevin Feige. Of Marvel and just say, Kevin, come.
Yeah.
Name your price. I will be.
Because money would be no option.
Yeah, I will be. Kevin, name your price. Let's just make the craziest kind of a.
I get an accidental segue here. She-Hulk on Disney Plus. Never heard. I saw one trailer of this. This is sort of in that superhero-y type world, I think.
Yes.
Did it need to be made? Is it any good?
To be honest, it's not rating itself so far on the TV. It's only just started. We're only 3 episodes into it. It's not that I'm not enjoying it. It's fine. More when you ask the question, did it need to be made? I'm like, I don't really see why it needed to be made. Mm-hmm. Basically what it is this is Bruce Banner's cousin. She accidentally gets infected by his blood, therefore making her a Hulk as well. And she happens to be a young woman who's a lawyer, and it's she's now working in the superhero division in this law firm, and all her cases have stuff to do with different types of bad and good superheroes that have shown up across the Marvel world. Anybody that's into the Marvel movies will know there's been a big, by the time the Avengers finished, there's been a massive big blend of alien and Earth. So it's taken away there. The thing about Marvel is, though, it's very hard to know whether or not, because you don't know where it's going to come in later on. This is part of this new set that they're
But
doing
in terms
TV
of this
shows.
program, Fionnuala, I presume it is, a woman who happens to be a She-Hulk in everyday sort of situations, or maybe life stuff, and that.
Yeah, she can control it more than Bruce Banner could, so she just can flick it on and off whenever she wants to.
Okay, so like, what new stories are they trying to tell here, or are they progressing Hulkism?
I think that's what they're doing more than anything else. I don't know. Michael probably knows more about the comics or whatever. I've never really read the comics on it, but this is in line with what they seem to be doing in Marvel from this particular. Because they call them different phases. And this phase 4 that they're in now is a lot of these TV programs, and they seem to be lining themselves up to have like a brand new kind of Avengers at the end of it. That, they don't need the Tony Stark. They don't, and if they do, they'll have a new Iron Man. Everything's going to be new, younger cast. That really seems to be what they're doing. And I
can understand why.
They're editing out Bruce Banner, and they're bringing in another generation of it. In the scale of the TV programs, this doesn't rank very high. If you put this up against now Loki or Wanda, even the Winter Soldier, I can't forget the flying guy in the Winter Soldier,
Falcon.
Falcon.
It's good to have you back.
Soldier, yeah. If you put it up against them, it doesn't rank very high on that
and that's
level.
what fans will judge it against.
Yeah, that's what I'm judging it against at the moment now. There just seems, I don't know what it is, but the last two that they've done, which is Ms. Marvel and this one, I just found them a little bit juvenile, which is unusual for Marvel, because normally the beauty and what I love about Marvel is that it spans. There's no generation that it's.
Are you satisfied that even as a fan, they're not flogging a dead horse? Are you satisfied that it is maybe not great scripts? It's not, or is it the fact that you've seen it before? If you want to watch a Hulk, you'll watch the Hulk. You don't need to see his niece or something. Like, is it badly made, or maybe you've just had enough? Maybe this phase is one phase too many.
Well, I just think for me, what it is that they were always very smart, and I'm not finding the Miss Marvel or this one as smart as the storylines and the different things that are happening in it. There's no real complexity in it, which normally is kind of the thing of a comic book. There's a kind of a hidden complexity. So from a 6-year-old, 7-year-old can watch it just for the action and stuff like that, but then you're getting more out of it kind of nearly the older you're going through it and that. I'm not finding that in these two, but I mean, I'm in it to win it with the Marvel. I love their movies, so we'll see where it's going to go.
Yeah, I'm up to date.
So in terms of the She-Hulk, with comics, like, was She-Hulk out at the same time as the Hulk?
The character arrived in 1980. I have the first issue, and I read this. Go figure. And then there was a revamp.
Is it still in the plastic?
I don't do that. I don't do that. I'm annoyed by people who do that. Get it out and read it. Read the darn thing.
Well, people buy two, you see, and they have one for their pleasure.
You're right. Yeah, they do. They have a reading copy, and you're back in the film, Greg. I'm impressed.
I just watch Porn Stars.
She,
is, by the way,
there's a famous clip of the lady who came out with the very expensive
PAWN.
Yeah, she came out with a very expensive comic. She-Hulk is a comedy series, so you have to come at it like you're watching something like Resident Alien or Big Bang Theory. It's a half-hour comedy series. It's the first time Marvel has done that. Ms. Marvel was a family hour kind of show, so it's like it's like comparing Big Bang Theory to The Wire. You can't. They may be in the same universe.
But has it been made as a comedy?
Yeah, it's a half-hour comedy. She talks to the camera and she refers...
She-Hulk. Have you watched it as well?
I watched it, yeah.
Right. Are you not accepting it's a comedy, Fionnuala?
I'll accept that maybe it's trying to be.
Okay.
Okay. But it's a half-hour comedy, so she talks to the camera. She talks like in the episode last night, she's...
See, the thing about your... This is the thing I have a difficulty with this, is you talk about it's like comparing the Big Bang Theory to The Wire, but it would be like comparing characters from The Wire who also star in the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
But they don't do that.
They don't do that. Well...
I just wonder, can we as the audience easily switch between drama and comedy when it's in the relatively same space?
I think part of what Kevin Feige does very well is, and he's always done it, but they're getting more extreme, is that each Marvel film is a different genre. Like they've always been. They were closely related because they were like a heist movie or a high school action movie or a super sci-fi movie set in outer space. But as the studio gets more successful, they're pushing the boundaries more. And this is where the fact that they're all Marvel product works against them a bit, because people expect this to be like Iron Man or expect it to be like the Hulk movie. and it's never intended to be. It's meant to appeal to a different audience by and large. It's meant to appeal. Like, I watched them on Thursday nights, and I watched Resident Alien back to back with it, and they're both basically the same show. They're very compatible shows.
So what are you giving it out of 10 then?
8. It's a good solid 8.
Well, so far I'm 3 in. There seems to be a lot of stuff happening that we haven't really gotten into yet. But I'd probably only be giving it about a 5 or a 6, I have to say, at the moment, after being 3 in it.
That used to be what you gave amazing shows. We have actually convinced you now that there is a structure here. Do you know that between 1, 0 and 10? So we've achieved something. Right, okay. We are getting very close now to giving away €10,000 on the programme. If you want to watch the process, by the way, and I think at this stage the whole show's broadcast every day on our website, highlandradio.com, and also on Highland Radio Ireland on YouTube and across our Facebook pages. If you want to watch and see, and there's a 2-second gap between what goes out on air and online, so you're not miss a thing. If you want to watch the draw taking place, then get on to our socials or onto our website, highlandradio.com, and you'll be able to enjoy it there. We're back in the company of Michael and Fanula after these.
Hello, how can I help you?
I'm looking to claim on my insurance policy.
Okay, and what type of chip do you need to claim for?
It's not a chip. I was in a minor accident.
And was your windscreen chipped in this accident?
No, it's just my backlight and the bumper.
So your windscreen is not chipped?
No.
Unfortunately, our policies only cover chips.
Do you get the feeling that you're not getting the right cover? Well, at Local Insurance, we are Irish owned and understand your needs. Call us today for a bespoke quote on 0818 894 444. Local Insurance, we'll get you sorted. The Local Insurance Network, DAC Trading's Local Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Local Insurance is a tied insurance intermediary of Acorn Brokerage Limited. Acorn Brokerage Limited, trading as Acorn Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Nutrius Lamb Feed offer, directly supported by the Arrivo Fodder Support Fund, is now available at your local Homeland store. Buy 10 bags of Nutrius Intensive Lamb or Nutrius Lamb Creep Crunch, get one free. Contains intake booster for higher intakes, better thrive and faster finish. T's and C's apply. Contact your local Homeland or farm commercial specialist today. Visit nutrius.ie for full product detail.
This week at Super Value, we've got amazing better than half price offers to help you save, like Super Value Fresh Irish Strip Loin Steak and Altera Special Reserve Cabernet Sauvignon. And don't forget, with Super Value's unbeatable own brand range, along with money off vouchers every week, Super Value makes saving money as easy as
1, 2, 3.
Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
If you're aged 50 to 64, it's time to boost your protection from COVID-19. Your protection from previous vaccines or from COVID-19 infection decreases over time. Your next vaccine will help protect you from serious illness in the months ahead. Book an appointment at a HSE vaccination centre on hse.ie. Call our team in HSE Live on 1800 700 700 or contact a participating GP or pharmacy from the HSE. For us all.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Euro Millions jackpot is an estimated €125 million. Play responsibly in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
Okie doke, and we are back. Let's talk about Channel 5, Michael. Dalgleish, what's going on there?
Dalgleish is... I've been trying to get into these 2-hour murder mystery shows that usually ITV do, and I've talked about MacDonald and Dodds, which I love.
So good.
Great fun. And last week I watched Van der Valk, which was okay. So this week I tried the Channel 5 one, and so it's 2-hour murder mysteries based on the P.D. James novels. P.D. James, she wrote 14 novels about Adam Dalgleish through the 60s, 70s, 80s, up to 2008. And ITV adapted the series from 1983 to 1998, a very long-running show with Roy Marsden as Adam Dalgleish. And so Channel 5 have decided to go back and adapt the novels as well. And they've done 3 of them. They filmed the show in Northern Ireland, and each novel is adapted.
Is it based in Northern Ireland,
No,
or they just
not
got good tax breaks?
It's just tax breaks
Okay,
or whatever. And I'm sure there's a few other reasons as well, because they're starting off the show set in the 1970s. So the first 3 novels have been done.
Save set design, is that what you're saying?
Well, I think they can.
I never said that, but you're implying it.
Well, it's sort of what I've read from what they talk. It suits the aesthetic for what they're looking for in terms of the feels and the backgrounds and all this kind of stuff. Because he's driving through these country roads a lot, and it's meant to be January 1975, so it suits their aesthetic, their visual aesthetic. So each novel is adapted into 2-hour murder mystery.
All self-contained?
All self-contained, yeah, each one. And I have to say, I watched the first one last night. Now, enjoying McDonald and Dodds. Was okay with Van der Valk. I'll go back and watch another Van der Valk. But I absolutely loved Dalglish. It's so smart. It's another level. It's top tier murder mystery.
Oh, yeah.
The lead,
P.D. James.
P.D. James, yeah. The lead guy, the guy whose name is Bernie Carvel, and I wouldn't have been familiar with his work. He reminds me of, and my favourite of the ITV shows is Manhunt with Martin Clunes, and I like the fact that detective feels like a detective. He's very calm and very, he's quiet and he's thinking. Carvel's version of Adam Dalglish is like that. Now, in contrast, when I watched Van der Valk last week, the first episode, he's quite moody. He insults everyone around him, and the opening sequence of it to show us that he's super cool had him chasing a suspect in a bike chase around Amsterdam and diving across and bringing the guy to the ground, and it was okay. But on this show, Dalglish just comes into a room and he's there in his coat and he's taking everything in, and they don't try to make you think he's cool, but you feel that, like Columbo, this quiet guy, or the Martin Clunes guy, is actually the cool one to watch.
They don't have to tell you he's cool.
Yeah, you can
that
pick up
what do we call it?
Van der Valk, yeah.
There's a new series out about that, and apparently they've switched it up a little bit. Maybe it's talking to what you're talking about.
Maybe, yeah.
They're making it feel like it's more based in... where did you say it was again?
It's Amsterdam. Yeah.
It felt like it could have been anywhere.
Yeah.
There wasn't a sense of Amsterdam. Apparently, the new series
is more the third. That'll be their third series.
They've gone back to the drawing board a bit.
Watched it last week, and I will watch another one. But I was thinking of you, Greg, because it's in Amsterdam. It's all English actors. They're not putting on accents. I couldn't care less. But I was thinking, it's like the drone shots. I'm like, I have a little Greg Hughes on my shoulder
the
going.
Worst one of that is it's documentaries. Right, where the person asking the questions doesn't use a microphone. I don't understand.
Oh yeah,
it
all
is so. It's like. Why did you decide to go to the park?
Yeah.
Subtitled it. No, do this. Get up beside the microphone. Ask the question.
Yes, or buy a second microphone for the
or
person behind the
get
camera.
walking in the door to take their seat.
I know you're either asking the questions on air or you're not.
Oh, you're not. Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah.
you can see the producer saying, "Sorry, do you want a mic?" No, I'm going to shout it from the back of the room. Okay, we'll subtitle it then. So, who's charged the drone?
I love how Greg has a list. I'm going to soon not be able to watch
mic one
anything.
Is the most annoying.
It's
Ruining
between
everything.
drones, between accents, and between off-camera interviews without mics. You're ruining everything that I watch.
So Dalglish has really been a pleasant surprise for you.
Yeah, I would rate it like 9 out of 10.
Because who doesn't like a 2-hour self-contained murder mystery that doesn't...
I love Vera. I love...
I see, I've not seen many of these. I know.
Lewis. Awesome.
I know. Okay.
So I've rewatched Lewis, I'd say 3 or 4 times. It's so good.
Is the Manhunter one you referenced? That's the one the detective. He actually is involved in the writing of it.
It's true. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's based on his own books. I
enjoyed that.
Yeah.
That
It's
wasn't
very,
too
very
bad
true.
at all.
McDonald and Dodds is very good, but McDonald and Dodds is deliberately light. It's amusing and it's escapism, and the crimes are elaborate and unlikely. But what I loved about Dalglish is that it's not amusing, it's deadly serious, and it's, although the crimes are really, well, I've only watched the first one, but although it was incredibly intricate, it doesn't unravel when it's over. It's like a good Columbo. You're like, okay, you could, whereas on McDonald and Dodds, you're like, nah, that couldn't happen. Because if you're relying on annoying somebody enough so that they go to a house at 8 o'clock and turn on a light and get mistaken for somebody else and get shot, you're like, no.
No, it's very plodding in some ways with the dog. Well, I haven't seen this new Dalglish, but
Oh,
the old
watch
ones
it.
when they've
It's
done
good.
them, and I've read some of the books, and like he's a poet, so
He's
very,
a poet.
He's more of an intellectual.
And Greg didn't know it.
No, I didn't.
Things go very kind of slowly through it.
Yeah.
And then once it's done, then you're like, oh yeah, totally. That's the guy that
Fanula, do you remember, because I've asked a few of my friends during the week, nobody that I've spoken to remembers the Roy Marsden show, which ran for 15 years. The Roy, they call it the Adam Dalglish Chronicles, but it would be a 6 episodes Shroud for a Nightingale, 6 episodes Death of an Expert Witness, 6 episodes The Black Tower. But this ran for 15 years and it was a premiere ITV show, and you don't remember either, Fanula.
No.
Because
somebody must remember. No,
I think a lot of this stuff goes in one ear and out the other.
But this was
or one eye and out the other, or whatever.
But this was a contemporary of like Morse. Like it started before Morse, and everyone remembers Morse.
There's a lot of stuff out now.
Never
like
showed again.
if you're talking about like say the programs that you've been mentioning, like Manhunter and all that kind of stuff, you might watch 3 or 4 of them, but there's probably a lot of people will go to the grave having never watched Dalglish or that one that was based in Amsterdam. It's ran 3 series. I'd say there's a lot of people never even
I would agree.
know it existed.
Of course.
So I presume it's that, but just in that time. So
Van der
you're
Valk was
giving
Dalglish a 9. I was
9. You
very
loved it.
impressed,
Okay.
and that's just on the first 2 or 3.
And Fanula, he's preaching to the converted here because this
I'm
is
done.
your
I'm
wheelhouse
100%.
here,
I'd
isn't it?
love to, because I've actually been looking for one. I've been rewatching stuff again because I'm rewatching Vera and I'm rewatching.
I'm at the same crack, rewatching
just
stuff.
rewatching stuff, trying to find something. But I must see, because I don't know if I have Channel 5. I'll have to see, can I find that?
It's on it is in Sky, but you have to add it in other channels. Do you know how to do that?
No, I don't know how to do that. I'll have to get in a boy. That's what boys are for.
Oh, while you're here.
Just make that work. Make it work.
Why do I just see him with a dicky bow on? I don't know what. It's just the way you said it.
I just don't know. Somebody has to come in and do it for me. I don't know how to do it. But if you like that, you should totally try Wallander.
yeah.
And Young Wallander, now they've done a really good job of it on Netflix. They redid it, and it was very good again. Like that, 2 hours, very slow.
Yeah.
Nordic.
Well, I'm definitely remiss. I'm not up to date on a lot of these things, so I want to try some. And there's a guy I follow on Twitter, David Brown, and he writes for Radio Times, and he's a huge TV fan. He's not just doing it as a job. So he tweets constantly about shows he loves. It was him got me into McDonald and Dodds. It was him got me into Dalglish. So following David Brown on Twitter got me to find.
If you're Michael, because he speaks to you.
He speaks to me,
right,
yeah.
Fanula, there's a lot on your list, and I don't want to pick something that you're not really passionate about speaking about, although I'm sure you love them all or they wouldn't be on the list.
I know.
Is it notable that Only Murders in the Building has it come to a conclusion?
Yeah, I will. I put Only Murders in the Building on it because we had talked about it ages ago when I started in the second series, and I was like, I'm not sure how the second series is going to go. Because it's very kind of specific, and the 2 guys that are in it are like, they're just so specific in the way that they act and that kind of thing. You just have it in your head as to what they should be like. But the second series was actually turned out to be really good. It dipped a little bit. It was probably a little bit long. The way you felt like maybe it was one episode too long. They could have chosen it down a small bit. But it actually, I really enjoyed it. And then it ended with a new celebrity guest, because they have all these celebrity guests, and it ended with the new celebrity guest. I won't give away the thing, but I am chomping at the bit now for season 3.
Right, yeah.
And the whole way through it, you were kind of like, they'll never knock another season out of this, because as you can imagine, with the name like Only Murders in the Building, you're like, how many murders can happen in one building?
Yeah.
Although, again, Murder, She Wrote. That
Jonathan and
town
Jennifer
was
Hart.
a death trap.
Everywhere Jonathan and Jennifer Hart went as well, people got killed.
You'd never invite them to your house. You'd definitely die.
Yeah.
Same with Angela Lansbury.
What is the attraction to this? I think it's great to see 2 great actors. They haven't sort of typecast themselves as people that clearly were famous 30 or 40 years ago, and now they're at this point. Like, it's a very nice program to watch. The dynamics of it, the relationship stuff.
Well, they have a genuine friendship, and I think that comes across that they kind of play off each other a bit in it. But
they're not dithering. Do you know what I mean? It's like I just think they've done it really well.
Yeah, but I suppose it's just like Martin Short, and of course, I can't think of his name.
The man
Steve
with
Martin?
2 brains. Yes,
Thank you. Steve Martin and Martin Short.
I would never have remembered Martin Short. But I know we're going.
I know, I got it the wrong way around. But you can tell that they've had a long relationship and friendship. And then the girl that they brought into it, I was a bit iffy about her
Selena
in the beginning.
Gomez.
But actually, she's very droll between the 2 of them.
Very droll.
So I like
people have described her as a revelation. She's very droll.
Very droll in it. But I like that up against the other 2, because they can be, like a couple of times she says it, she turns them and they're kind of dithering, as in on purpose, if you know what I mean, that sort of a thing. And she turns to them and she's like, okay, are you having a stroke or did I?
Yeah.
What is going she's very kind of droll.
But
it's
done in a way. I just think it's really, really very well done, because I think they could have fallen down of some, plot holes that would have been really obvious or sort of character. And it's a pleasant, because you care about her. You care about the 2 of them. You genuinely find yourself caring about them.
And even
then
just the periphery characters,
Exactly.
like in it, they sort of start pulling in these different characters in it, and you're just kind of like, bless. One of them's found love in the middle of the second series, and you're like, you should not care one way or another about this person. He literally, it couldn't be further from the edge of the character, of the arc of the story, and yet you're kind of like, I think really what it is just excellent writing.
Yeah,
Steve Martin was trying to do this for years. Apparently, he had the idea 10 or 15 years ago. It took them that long to sort of get it together into their heads, and I suppose he aged into the part because it was always about kind of two old guys. There wasn't supposed to be a younger character in it. But anybody I've talked to about it, they were all kind of like, when they got to like, say, in the middle of it, you kind of start thinking to yourself, I don't know now whether they'll get a series 2 out of this, series 3 out of it. Now all of a sudden it's finished, and I'm like, oh my God, when exactly is it coming out? When's it coming out? It just looks like it's going to be really good.
Speaking of podcasts, and I'm looking forward to finishing that. The only podcast I've listened to that really got me was The Teacher's Pet, focusing on the Lynn and Chris Dawson story. It was from the Australia, the newspaper, and they did this series, and it focused on this case. And Chris Dawson was in court this week, and a verdict was delivered. I don't know if I can ruin it because they haven't really made an updated episode, and it's all over the news. But he was found by a judge because they couldn't use a jury because of the contamination of the jury pool. So it was in front of a single judge, and the judge found that he was responsible for Lynn Dawson's death. And other than sort of podcasts about things I'm interested in like boxing or something like that, this was the only podcast that was so Moorish for me. And now, off the back of it, it's a trial took place, and he's been convicted.
It'll be interesting to see, because there was a thing on it was that he has always claimed that she's in
missing
England
somewhere. She's just
apparently
often was spotted in a picture in the background in some newspaper or something.
She was on in the background of Antiques Roadshow.
But there's no evidence at all. What's interesting about it is there is zero evidence that he was responsible for her disappearance or death. There's no evidence whatsoever.
Yeah, there's just, according to the podcast anyways, there was no physical evidence, just that she has disappeared.
Yep.
And he was, I think, saying that he was a twat is putting it mildly. Mm-hmm. But it was very similar to the Cork murder.
Yeah.
In which you're like...
I could never find that other than it's on... what's it on? Storyville? Not Storyville.
It's on Audible.
Audible. That's it.
Oh, West Cork. Oh, it's very. You should definitely listen to it. It's very well done. But my similarities was in the sense of the person who is being accused. You're not 100% sure whether that person had done it, and there doesn't seem to be 100% confirmation in evidence base. You know what I mean, or forensics base. But yet that individual appears to be very strange. Yeah. Very strange things.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? That makes you kind of think, maybe.
But I mean, it's an awful lot in that too, because the burden of proof, even in a circumstantial trial, I don't know. Can it be about your feelings or logic? And I don't know. But anyway, I think it'll be appealed. But that's it's probably really the only podcast I've listened to start to finish based on something like that. Okay.
Oh, I definitely recommend it. It's very good.
Yeah. Right. I think we should give away €10,000. If you want to watch this draw, get onto our website now, highlandradio.com, or on Highland Radio Ireland on YouTube, or on our Facebook pages. One of you who purchased a ticket is about to win €10,000. We'll be right back with that.
School's back, so you'll probably want healthy snacks that can fit in a lunchbox. Luckily, Lidl has bags of savings on fresh fruit, like loose easy peelers only 19¢, fun-sized Pink Lady apples just 99¢, and snack carrots at a bite-sized 49¢. That's big discounts in small sizes. School days cost less at Lidl. More for you.
Kids going back to school? With Donegal's largest selection of 7-seaters available, make sure to visit iMotors. All of our cars come with up to 12 months warranty and are fully checked over by our experienced team of technicians. Call today or visit imotors.ie.
Ready, Steady, Grow Childcare Centre Ballybuffet require a full-time childcare assistant with a level 5 or 6 qualification, a part-time childcare assistant and 2 child assistants to cover maternity leave, and a cook with experience of home cooking. For further information, contact Paula on 074 9190 151 or send your CV to info@rsgchildcare.com.
If you're pregnant, it's time to boost your protection from COVID-19. Protection from previous vaccines or from COVID-19 infection decreases over time. Your next vaccine will help protect you and your baby from serious illness in the months ahead. For information or to book an appointment at a HSC vaccination centre, visit hsc.ie. Call our team in HSC Live on 1800 700 700 or contact a participating GP or pharmacy. From the HSC, for us all.
Hello, Greg Hughes here, inviting you to join us for a special 2-hour show this Sunday as we broadcast live from the London Irish Vintage Club's 10th annual Vintage Day on the grounds of Tyrconnell Gales. We've loads of special guests, live music and plenty of crack. That's this Sunday live on Highland Radio from 12 noon, or watch the show on our website, YouTube or Facebook. And if you're in London, come along and say hello. Okay, you're welcome back to the programme, and Michael has turned into Sean. Hi, Sean.
A bad change.
Fanula?
No comment.
What are we going to do now? I wasn't going to ask you to comment on that. Right, what are we going to do? Let's talk about what we're going to do. We are going to put our hand into that thing back there. Can't wait to see the
beautiful
back of it.
trombola.
And we're going to pull out a ticket, and that person instantly wins €10,000. We'll try and make contact. Hopefully, if they'll come on and say hello, brilliant. But as soon as the number comes out and we see the number, that person is €10,000 richer.
I'll just give it a spin.
Richer. Okay, on you go there now. Yeah. You're spinning, Fanula's spinning. She's spinning. Go. I mean, we're going to have to get a new table. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to tell you about how this is actually the bookcase from my office.
Right. Have you got it open?
There we go.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, let us wait for this number now.
I know. I'm going right down to the bottom now, so hopefully.
It is.
There you go.
Number
5127.
All right, swing it round here. 5127. One of you has just won €10,000. How exciting! 5127. Okay, you might know your number. You know you've won, but we're going to give you a ring just to confirm that information. 5127. €10,000. Wouldn't it be lovely? What would you do with it, Sean?
Definitely a holiday, Greg.
Yeah?
I would definitely go on
I
a
feel
holiday.
golf would be involved in it somewhere.
Absolutely go and play golf for
Yes.
at least 2 weeks. Family holiday, and I'd probably give the
That's
kids
a separate holiday, I take it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say but the family one would be fabulous.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, holiday would be lovely.
Fanula?
Oh no! Well, I always wanted to, for my 50th, was to rent a villa in Italy for a month. I've never been to Italy.
To live somewhere for a month. Because
Yeah,
you'd live,
just-
you would
I
have
was
to
like,
get groceries and stuff.
Yeah, you'd rent it for a month, and then all the family then could come out and visit whenever they wanted to. So you just wouldn't have, you wouldn't have them all the time now.
Yes.
But you could just lie around then and, read my book and be in the sun. Awesome. That's what I would do with it.
Yeah, I do watch A Place in the Sun for all those reasons.
Oh, yeah.
But do you know what I do? Do you know when they've got like a budget for 60 or 70 grand or something, or 100 grand? I enjoy those, but if it's like we've got 380 grand to go to Barbados, switch that off.
I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite. I want to see big.
Well, I know
wanna see
I'll never
bold.
do that one. I just would hope maybe I could win a small amount on the lotto and do the 80,000 and get in a top floor apartment back street in Albufeira. You know, that sort of thing. But no, therefore, we should make a program, A Life in the Rain, where people in Spain have a budget to come and buy a house in Donegal. Yeah, A Place in the Rain.
I think
I like that.
I think they'd love it. Look at all the people that come here. I'm always amazed when you meet people who've moved.
Why are
to-
you coming here? So my arthritis gets worse. And
I want to wear my raincoat.
Yes,
twice
exactly.
in the 1 week.
I enjoy playing golf, but I don't. I want to not be able to do it. You know, that kind of stuff.
Making that a little bit harder because it's
A
windy.
life in the
Loads of
rain.
people
A
move
life
to
in the
this
rain
country
coming.
for warm.
Of course, I love it. I wouldn't go anywhere else.
Oh God.
But I could see the Life in the Rain show. Right. Okay. Ticket number 5127. We're going to be announcing the winner very, very shortly, but we're also going to see if we can get them onto the telephone line. And a big thanks to everyone who took part in the competition, and a big congratulations to 4 winners already, collecting €2,500 each on Lee's show, David's show, John's show, and it started off on this program, and it's ending now with the €10,000. So.
No, it's for that. We've been delighted with the response, and it's just been amazing. Once again, like all the listeners have really gotten in behind it, and it's just so fantastic to be able to give away this kind of money to our listeners out there. And as I say, particularly this time of year with kids going back to school, Christmas around the corner, everybody giving out about the cost of expenses for their electricity and their heat and all that.
And
kind
also
of stuff.
too is, and I know
It's great.
you know, Sean might start looking at me as if to say don't say that. But the thing about this is, I mean, lots of people do these types of competitions on Facebook and stuff, right?
Mhm.
And they're across all of Ireland and across Britain. And an awful lot of people enter. You know what I mean? And it's it's always a game of chance. But because it's this Northwest based, you know what I mean? People who
Yeah.
are listening will know the person that's won. You know what I mean? And it's from a smaller pool, which I
definitely.
like because
think
then
that's it. And we've been so lucky with all of our winners. They've all been local. They've all been just spread right across the county, which I always think is fantastic. That you just see it happening, popping up all over the place. Like
brilliant.
it's not just
Okay.
in one spot.
Stay where you are, the two of you. We're going to take a quick break, and one of two things is going to happen. I'm going to simply announce the winner's name, or they could be on the telephone line. It's up to them. There's no pressure, you see.
New farm schemes get the green light. For more in your Farmer's Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
EU Commission approves Ireland's CAP plan. We reveal how grain growers get just 1 cent from a pint of stout. Fears over fertiliser supply for next spring. Farmers will foot bill for extra TB testing. Have we reached peak milk price? Demand for firewood soars, and ram prices increased by €46 a head.
Plus, don't miss our focus on autumn animal health. Inside this week's Irish Farmer's Journal, on sale now.
What's your dream job? Lawyer, engineer, criminologist, or software developer? Do you want to develop renewable energies, create the next great drama, or improve people's health? Anything is possible at Ulster University Magee campus, where you can study in the heart of Derry, Londonderry. Clearing places are now available to help you realise your ambitions. It's time to say hello future. Apply now for September 2022 at ulster.ac.uk.
The renowned Gallon Hotel Group Ballybuffet, featuring the Villa Rose and Jackson's Hotels, are hosting their autumn wedding showcase on Sunday, September the 11th from 1 till 4 p.m. Take the opportunity to view both venues fully dressed and meet with the wedding teams. Find out more on gallongroup.com.
Vamos, amigos. We're off to sunny Centra for their famous Spanish wine sale. Hola, kitchen parties. Adios, spending loads. All of your favourites from Rioja to Albarino and Tempranillo to Garnacha are on offer now in your local Centra. For a great night in, choose Centra and their Spanish wine sale. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
Don't know why she's leaving.
Joe Gallagher Entertainment presents Chris Norman, the original voice of Smokey, returns to Donegal on the 30th of October to the Mount Errigal Hotel, Letterkenny. Tickets on sale from the Mount Errigal Hotel reception, Joe Gallagher Entertainment office, and Ticketmaster.ie.
Okay, you're welcome back to the programme. Patricia Hunter from Ards. Good morning to you, Patricia.
Good morning, Greg.
It's Greg here. How are you keeping?
I'm very good, thank you.
Excellent stuff. I think you bought a couple of tickets, didn't you, for our summer?
I did. My heart's pounding, Greg.
And I think you bought 6 tickets.
I did indeed, yeah.
And you put them in different people's names.
I did.
Well, guess what? 5127 came out, and that's the one with your name on it, Patricia.
Oh my God.
You have won €10,000. What do you think about that?
Oh, I can't believe it. Oh my God, my heart is actually pounding.
In a good way?
Oh, in a great way.
Okay, that's good. That is good. So not only, I think you put them in different people's names, and you're the one that won.
My husband and my 3 children and one of the girlfriends.
Right, pack your bags. Tell them to stay where they are. This is your 10K. You're spending it, Patricia.
Oh my God, I can't believe it.
Congratulations. Do you have any idea what you might do
so
with
much.
it, Patricia?
Oh, I haven't a clue, but I think I would be packing a bag and going somewhere.
Isn't it brilliant? You can do that now. You've got that little bit of room and it's lovely, and you can decide to take himself and the other 3, or just whatever it is. It's all up to you, whatever you want to do. It's €10,000 in cash, and it is yours. And we appreciate you coming on and speaking to us as well to share the great news, because everyone will be delighted to hear this news for you, Patricia.
Oh, I'm so delighted. Thank you so much.
All right, take care. You probably will have a good weekend now, will you?
Oh, I'll tell you.
All right, we'll be in contact with you too.
There'll be no cooking this evening.
I wouldn't cook this weekend. Right, okay, congratulations, Patricia. It sounds like it couldn't have gone to a nicer person, and we appreciate you taking part, and I'm so delighted for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Best luck to you and all the family. Take care of yourself. Patricia Hunter, Ards Creasla, who is the winner of the €10,000. She bought 6 tickets, and the winning ticket's the one in her name. I love that.
So good.
So the
isn't it?
generosity and that goodwill
What are the
has been
chances?
I know,
rewarded with her
karma.
winning the cash.
And
which
the
is
other
brilliant.
thing is, Greg, 5 different winners.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant.
Yes, but don't. Why would you bring that up again? It's great. Do you remember the first time when we were launching
5
this
happy
Vanilla?
people.
He was insisting that someone's probably going to win 2 or 3 times.
I know.
and it was like you were like a dog with a bone. You wouldn't let it go. the probability of it
No,
was non-existent.
It's
All
been
right.
fantastic. Let's say 5 winners all getting a nice bit of cash heading into the winter months.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
indeed. It's brilliant stuff.
Think
Listen,
about something nice to do with it.
excellent. Well, Sean, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we appreciate your time. And Michael, you hop in there till we say goodbye to you because you're always so good. Right, okay.
There we go. Came into
If
the
anyone watching now is going to go, what's just happened?
What's happened?
Okay. All right, brilliant stuff. That's
And
that.
you called him so good.
Huh?
And you called him so good.
Yeah.
I know.
Concerning.
Okay.
Wow.
Patricia Hunter, Arts
frightening.
Creasler, well done to you. Congratulations. It's lovely, Michael, isn't it? To
Yeah,
hear
I was listening.
someone-
Yeah,
to
it's
hear someone
absolutely.
win.
And she was delighted. She's a lovely lady, and it's a great boost. Fantastic, you know. I hope
Yeah.
her heart is calming down.
Yes, but that's
She's-
that's a lovely one. Do you know what I mean? Normally for me, it's like, should I ring now, Doc, or not? Is this a panic attack or not? And I can say that I'm not taking the hand.
No.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
But that's a nice heartbeat because you know you're gonna get a bit of good news. Right. Okay. Listen, fantastic stuff. Have a great weekend, Fanula.
Aye, we'll be at Blackbird.
We will.
We'll see you next week.
Tomorrow,
Okay,
yeah.
and you have a fantastic
Will do.
weekend.
And you too, Greg.
Don't forget now, everybody, to join us on Sunday between 12 noon and 2 p.m. We're broadcasting live from London as part of the Vintage Day over there. And we have loads of guests lined up. You can listen to it on the radio. Also, if you want to watch it, you can watch it on our website and social media if you want to see who's milling around in the background and if you recognise any faces. All of that on Sunday at 12 noon, and Donald's in for me on Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone. Stay tuned. John Bresson's coming up around the Northwest after we get a news update, and we say good morning now, or good afternoon, in fact, to Donald Kavanagh. Hi, Donald.
Thank you, Greg. Good afternoon. The joint funeral